A great night for two states to go head-to-head in the annual border battle. It's the Twins and the Brewers here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. This is Friday Night Baseball presented by Kawasaki Terex. And we've got ideal conditions. The roof is open, and tonight's starters look like this. A relatively unknown lefty by the name of Scott Diamond faces the Brewers' Marco Estrada, who hopes to get his first win of the season. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Craig Kashan. Lots to talk about here tonight before we get you set for first pitch on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The Brewers looking to change things up with a new lineup. Plus, the Twins could be just what the doctor ordered. Over the last 10 games, the Brewers have dominated this series, winning 8, including 6 straight here at Miller Park. Jonathan Lucroy, over his last 14 games, has been as good as anyone in the game right now. Plus, he's got a new spot in the batting order that we'll tell you about as well. And over at first base, Travis Ishikawa's numbers as a starter there have been tremendous. 343, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and he's back in at first tonight. Now it's time for some interleague intrigue. The first of 6 meetings between two natural bordering states this season begins tonight. BA and Rock show you a new lineup before first pitch, all coming up next.
Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, when you choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Toyota. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
What a glorious day it is for a tailgate, and the Brewers and the Minnesota Twins. Interleague baseball begins. The Twins have been one of the best teams in the history of baseball in interleague play, come in with a 148-116 record. Meanwhile, Aramis Ramirez, he's always enjoyed American League pitching, hitting for a career .296 average. pretty good sample size as well in the American League. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson, and this is a matchup where the Brewers are hoping to get going against the Minnesota Twins. They've changed their lineup today. Ricky Weeks has bumped down. He'll hit in the 6-hole tonight. And now you're looking at the Minnesota Twins coming off a couple of wins against the Detroit Tigers. They still have some firepower.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the Minnesota Twins, dominated the Brewers for a while in interleague play, but you can see what the Brewers have been able to do to them lately. 8-2 in their last 10 games. That includes 6 in a row here at Miller Park. 4-2 last year, but you can see both of these teams have struggled a bit offensively this year. It's going to be a matter of which one of these offenses is going to be able to break out. Ron Renicky hoping that new lineup change is going to help.
Marco Estrada against Scott Diamond, a left-hander who is 2-0 to start the year. The Brewers and the Twins, they call it the border battle. It starts a home and home with these two, American League, National League. Twins Brewers, it's next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
When the variables of a sports rivalry collide in just the right way, a heated conflict can be created. For Minnesota and Wisconsin, the components of their border battle consist of many factors. It is a rivalry whose chemistry contains not just two teams, but two states. From the gridiron to the ice, from the hardwood to the diamond, fanatic fans are the combustible element. It's time to put the chemistry to the test. Twins, Brewers, next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
And there is Marco Estrada, the man on the mound tonight to start this game for the Brewers as he leads the crew out onto the field. Retro Friday here at Miller Park. The roof is open, and it is just a gorgeous night for baseball. A lot of our friends from Minnesota, the Twin Cities, have made their way to Miller Park, Milwaukee. It's about a 5-hour drive from Target Field. Ron Gardenhire and the Twins, it has been a struggle this year for Minnesota, but they're coming off back-to-back wins against the Detroit Tigers. Ron Gardenhire, his team at 12-26, dead last in the American League Central. But they still have some names you'll recognize. The Piggly Wiggly batting order with Denard Span leading off. Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer in the 3-hole tonight. Josh Willingham, who once hit 2 grand slams here at Miller Park in the same game. Justin Morneau bats 5th. Trevor Plouffe in the 6th hole. And then you've got Casilla, Carroll, and Scott Diamond.
Now Marco Estrada making his 5th start on the year, 10th appearance, and his 4th start here at Miller Park. So he's pitched quite a bit here at home in the early going.
Well, you hear a lot of the same discussions from both managers prior to this game. This is a series that both are looking towards to try to get going a little bit. Brewers come in at 16-22. While the Twins are at 12-26, and both trying to climb their way out of the cellar in their respective divisions. First pitch of the ball game is up and away we go from Miller Park. Starts a 6-game homestand for the Brew Crew. Got 3 with the Twins that'll take you through the weekend, and then the San Francisco Giants come to town Monday. Marco Estrada in such a key spot in that starting rotation, filling in for the injured Chris Narveson. Narveson out for the season with shoulder surgery. Had to repair a torn rotator cuff. Yeah, with Marco Estrada, he's a guy that I think the Brewers are very confident filling the role in the starting rotation, but it's the hole that he leaves leaving the bullpen that was the biggest concern, as the Brewers had to challenge their depth a little bit with their starting rotation. Wow, what a great night for baseball. Big crowd outside tailgating tonight. Had the grills fired up early. 72 beautiful degrees. It's probably the best night of baseball we've had so far this season.
And the Brewers are hoping some home cooking is going to snap them out of it. It was a rough road trip, 1-3. Took the Brewers to New York and Houston. They just weren't swinging the bats all that well. All starts with the pitching. And Marco Estrada hoping to continue what he left off with against the Cubs. Very good start from Marco last time out. 6 innings, 2 runs against Chicago in a no decision.
Marco Estrada, just 28 years of age, out of Southern California, Mexican born, California raised. And you see his start against the Cubs. He was very efficient in that 6 innings, just 83 pitches. That one is lined to right. Corey Hardy is back. That is over his head off the wall. Span around second. He'll stop there with a leadoff double. And this one starts with a bang for the Minnesota Twins tonight. Check the rest of the Brewers defensively. Joining Hart is Braun and Aoki in the outfield, and then around the horn, Aramis Ramirez, Cesar Izturis, Ricky Weeks, and Travis Ishikawa. Jonathan Lucroy does the catching tonight. 4-man umpiring crew. Jerry Lane is the crew chief. He's calling balls and strikes. Lance Barrett, Hunter Wendelstedt, and Dan Bellino up from the minor leagues, filling in for the suspended Bob Davidson, who is serving a 1-game suspension tonight.
And have a little altercation, or a big altercation, with the manager for the Phillies. Yeah, he and Charlie Manuel got into it pretty good. Some things were said that probably shouldn't have been said, and Bob Davidson is going to serve a game suspension. He'll be here tomorrow.
Here's Brian Dozier, the Minnesota shortstop. And that one's hit hard center field. Aoki's got a long way to go, and Aoki makes the catch. Say hey, Nori. What a great play.
Wow. Boy, Dozier put a charge into that one. Aoki plays about as shallow as you'll see anybody play in center field. He goes back, and I don't think anybody thought he was going to be able to get there. And just like a wide receiver camping under a Aaron Rodgers pass. Check him out. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Nori Aoki saving a run. Well done.
Well, Aoki getting the vote of confidence. He's been swinging the bat well, and he's the one who gets the playing time and makes a beautiful play for the first out. That's a fun way to get this series started. I can't wait to hear from Aoki after this game about what he knows about Willie Mays and the Say Hey Kid and the catch that Willie Mays made famous.
All right, beautiful play. And now it gives you an idea why he was a Gold Glover over in Japan in the outfield. Tremendous.
Here's Joe Mauer. He comes in hitting .265. His power numbers are way down. Just 1 homer, 16 runs batted in. But he has been a Brewer killer throughout his career. He hits for a .331 average lifetime against Milwaukee. Runner at second with 1 away. And Mauer swings and misses. A fastball right by him from Estrada.
Yeah, .331 against the Brewers. That's just about on par with Joe Mauer. Now, coming into the season, his career batting average is .323. This guy can hit. He had 1 big home run year. That was back in '09. 28 homers. Nothing close since.
And that home run production dropped drastically with Mauer and Morneau when they opened up Target Field in 2010. Now, hard to figure the Twins start this year. I think very similar to the Brewers start, even though Milwaukee is 4 games better than the Minnesota Twins. Twins have some pieces. They have players who have a pedigree, guys who have had a lot of success in the major leagues. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Estrada against Joe Mauer, and he misses away with a fastball.
And it's been all about starting pitching for the Minnesota Twins. It's been horribly inconsistent. They're last in the league in team earned run average. And that pitch didn't miss by much. A little bit off the corner.
Well, Twins come to Milwaukee flying high with confidence after sweeping the Detroit Tigers in a 2-game series. Many feel the Tigers the top team in the American League Central. At least that was the pick to win the Central from most of the experts around baseball. Tigers are off to a shaky start. Minnesota went into Detroit and took care of business for 2 days. It's only the 2nd time all year the Twins have put together back-to-back wins. Right now, Gardenhire's Twins 10 games back of the Cleveland Indians in the American League Central. Mauer into left field. Braun got a long way to go on the track. Braun runs it down. And another fly ball that ends up in the glove of a Brewers outfielder. 2 gone. Span still at second base. So the Twins winning back-to-back games for the first time since April 11th and 12th against the Angels. Dead last in the American League in runs scored. Brock told you about the pitching story for Minnesota. They're near the bottom or at the bottom in a lot of major categories, both on the mound and at the plate.
And key components to their starting rotation on the disabled list. Scott Baker done for the year. Francisco Liriano, their impressive left-hander, was banished to the bullpen after an 0-5 start.
Here's Josh Willingham. 2 outs in the inning. Willingham has been the Twins' most productive hitter. 7 homers, 22 runs batted in so far this season. I think it was thought that Willingham would be, that third complementary piece to Mauer and Morneau, but he has been the focal point offensively, at least in the first month and a half of the season. And he loves hitting here. Had one of the great games in baseball history right here at this ballpark. Just a few years back when he hit not 1 but 2 grand slams against the Brewers.
Yep, and back-to-back at bats.
That was as a member of the Washington Nationals. Quickly 0-2 on Willingham. That one's driven deep. Willingham will watch this one fly way out of here. And a quick 2-spot on the board for the Twins. Willingham hits his 8th.
Had 2 well-located fastballs to get ahead 0-2, and then he hangs a curveball. Fastball away, fastball in. He took him, which leads you to believe he's looking for something off speed. He gets it, and he hammers it out there in the left. Well, Marco was using just about every inch of Miller Park for the 2 outs that he recorded. Now this time Willingham knocks one where nobody can catch it.
Marco Estrada has given up more home runs than any other pitcher in the National League. That's his 9th allowed. As Justin Morneau pops it up, and Ramirez is there to end the inning. 2-run homer by Willingham. The highlight of the inning. Nori Aoki goes 1954 Willie Mays on the Twins. For Milwaukee tonight, as Josh Willingham hits a 2-run homer on an 0-2 pitch, and the Twins have the early lead. Ron Renicky trying to put together a lineup that will make some noise. The Piggly Wiggly batting order has Corey Hart leading off tonight, Rock, with Ricky Weeks now in the 6th hole behind Jonathan Lucroy.
Ron Renicky is saying just got to shake it up a little bit. He just can't continue with the lineup that he's been throwing out there. Corey Hart did a nice job in that leadoff spot when Ricky Weeks went on the disabled list last year, and Oki's been swinging the bat well. The biggest challenge for him is where he's going to put Lucroy, his best hitter with runners in scoring position, as Scott Diamond makes his 3rd start of the year. He's 2-0 coming up from the minor leagues, where he was 4-1 with a .260 earned run average in AAA.
And his first pitch to Corey Hart is in there for a strike. Hart very comfortable in the leadoff spot. As a matter of fact, he has said on the record he'd prefer to hit up higher in the order as opposed to 4th or 5th. Accepted that role as a 5-hole hitter this year, but he always fashions himself as a leadoff hitter. He's a power threat in the leadoff spot, which is what Renicky likes, which is why Renicky typically had Ricky Weeks in the leadoff spot. But it was time to make a change, according to the Brewers manager, and we'll see if this sparks a little offense.
And take a little bit of the pressure at the top of the order from Ricky, who has really been struggling through the first 6 weeks of the season. Maybe this will get him going.
And Hart rips one into left center, a base hit. Good start for Corey Hart, who has hit 5 leadoff homers in his career. And he opens it up with a single. How about the Twins defensively, courtesy of Menards? Willingham, Span, and Plouffe in the outfield. You've got Jamie Carroll, Brian Dozier, Alexi Casilla, and Justin Morneau. And Joe Mauer does the catching tonight. It's always interesting, Rock, when an American League team comes to a National League venue, what the manager does with his designated hitter spot.
Well, it's going to be easy to that fix with Justin Morneau. He's has been doing a lot of DHing, but you can't do that here. He went to Ron Gardenhire recently saying, I want to play first base every day. I'm your guy. So he's going to get that chance this weekend.
Now, what do you think? Do you think American League teams are hurt because they don't get to use the DH, or vice versa when a National League team has to implement a DH in an American League.
I think it makes things a little bit difficult on both American and national. The Cubs White Sox game today had Adam Dunn out in left field. He misplayed a ball in left.
Yeah, the Red Sox are using Adrian Gonzalez in right field so they can get David Ortiz at first base.
So you lose a little bit defensively when you get your designated hitter into the game. And on the flip side, the National League, it's not as easy as just putting a guy in the DH spot. I mean, it takes a little bit more thought and a little bit more experience than just throwing him in there for a game or two. That takes getting used to.
Skips in, nice block by Mauer, but Hart, some excellent base running, will advance to second. After the leadoff single, he is into second base with a wild pitch.
Now they say Diamond has a pretty good curveball, and he's got a good changeup, which is what that last pitch was. And not much you can do about that, bouncing well in front of home plate. And Mauer does the best he can.
Well, now Hart in scoring position for Nori Aoki, coming off that highlight reel catch in the first inning. Aoki better suited for the 2-hole. Always want a guy, at least in the Renicky lineup, according to the manager, who can handle the bat. He can hit behind a runner. He can move a runner. And that's what Aoki does. He and a guy like Nigel Morgan, better suited to hit second. There's been so much discussion about the leadoff spot and the struggles of Ricky Weeks. They moved Ricky out of the leadoff spot into the 2-hole. And you can almost tell this. You get the sense from the manager it's disrupted the way he wants to play baseball. He has a philosophy on how a lineup should be structured. The Brewers have been out of that as Aoki takes a shot at the corner.
That philosophy gets disrupted when guys aren't getting on base and you don't have things going on offensively. So you put the hot hand in there in the number 2 spot. Aoki on base 4 times last night. 3 hits and a hit batter, all against lefties. Aoki's been doing a pretty good job against southpaws this year.
Yeah, Aoki 6 for 18 against lefties. .333 hitter. As Davey Nelson pointed out in our Brewers Live pregame show, he did a little breakdown on Aoki and his ability to cover the plate.
That's near impossible to do that. Davey did a pretty good job.
Davey didn't actually make contact with both feet off the ground, but he tried. 2-2. And Aoki finds the hole. Hard on his way to third.
Oh, that's just a beautiful approach by Aoki. And not trying to do too much. And I think that's one of the things that happens when you're not scoring runs as a team. Guys going up there trying to hit the homer. And just put the bat on the baseball. That's Aoki's philosophy. And he's able to sneak one into left field. So a good start from Milwaukee.
Willingham was playing shallow. He was ready to throw, but nobody was there. So now first and third after the Twins scored twice in the first inning on a 2-run homer by Willingham. The Brewers with a golden opportunity as Ryan Braun will step in. Braun hitting .304 to start play today. Has 10 homers, 21 ribbies. An on-base percentage of .385. And a slugging percentage right at .600. Now Braun, like the rest of the Brewers offense, had a rough road trip outside of Travis Ishikawa's great day in New York on Tuesday. Brewers had a hard time scoring runs on the last road trip.
You can only imagine what that road trip might have looked like had Ishikawa not had that day. 5 RBIs, a couple of homers. Would have been even a longer trip.
Braun went 4 for 14 on the road trip. Last year against the Twins, he was 5 for 18 overall in the 6 games and had a home run, 7 runs batted in. 2 on at the corners with nobody out against Scott Diamond, who has not given up an earned run in the big leagues this season.
Yeah, he's been impressive. 9 hits is all, 1 walk, 10 punch outs in 14 innings of scoreless baseball.
That covers 2 starts.
As Braun bounces one over to third, they go to second for one. Casillas' turn not in time, and it'll be an RBI for Braun. So the Brewers score a hard-earned run here in the first inning. Braun drives in his 22nd and fast enough to beat the double play.
Yeah, not hit hard enough to double up Ryan. He gets down that line well. It's a good curveball from Diamond, and Ryan beats it into the ground, but with his speed, there's no way you're going to turn a double play on that.
Well, the first earned run that Scott Diamond allows this year comes in his third start of the season. Here is Ramirez. Got to figure there'll be a bit of a learning curve here with the Brewers and this pitcher. Diamond made a start against the Angels. He went 7 shutout. And then a start against Toronto, going 7 shutout, 5 hits. Right off the end of the bat. And Morneau will take it to the bag for out number 2. Braun advances. Well, Marichka Aoki helping this inning move along. And I don't know. What do you think, Rock? You got the Nori Aoki on the left and Davey Nelson.
I couldn't tell which was which, actually. I'm glad you told me that.
Very similar.
That's a heck of a job by Davey. That's not an easy swing to try and replicate, let alone analyze.
Davey is currently packed in ice right now. He took on the challenge and he delivered the goods in our Brewers Live pregame. That's why you have to show up 30 minutes early. You never know what you're going to get.
He's a brave man, Davey Nelson.
Braun at second with 2 away for Lucroy. Lucroy hitting a major league best .542 with runners in scoring position. Softball numbers. And with 2 outs and runners in scoring position like he has here, he's even better. He's hitting .615. 8 hits and 13 at bats.
Now, the reason he has success in these spots is because he just tries to put the ball in play. He hits it where it's pitched. He waits back. He's patient at the plate. And most of his success in these spots have come up the middle and the right field. And guys like that, just willing to take what the pitcher gives them, are normally successful in these spots.
There's a lot of discussion about Jonathan Lucroy, where he'd hit the lineup, with Ricky Weeks dropping down to the 6th spot. Renicky said the biggest challenge he had was to figure out where to put Lucroy. On one hand, he's been a great run producer. On the other, he's probably best suited for the 2-hole. And the way he approaches pitchers, uses the opposite field, a contact hitter. And he draws a walk. So Lucroy is aboard. And it's first and second for Ricky Weeks.
Number 23, second baseman, Ricky Weeks.
Yeah, it's good to hear an encouraging home crowd. Weeks certainly knows his struggles. You wouldn't know it by watching Ricky every day. He is about as measured as it gets. He's the same guy whether he's on a hot streak or on a cold streak. That's actually one of the great attributes about Ricky Weeks.
You're not going to find a guy in all of sports, maybe anybody walking around anywhere, more mentally tough than Ricky Weeks. Doesn't seem to let much get to him and get into his head. He'll get out of it.
Showed a few signs of it last night. He lined out in Houston. Did have a hit as well. 2 on, 2 out. Runners go, throw to third, and Braun is safe. He got a toe in there somehow.
I thought he was going to ring him up. Dan Bellino, the third base umpire, looked like he wanted to call him out. Risky business for Ryan Braun, trying to steal third base. And heads up base running by Lucroy to follow him. Very close to third, but I think that Mauer's best shot at an out was at second with Lucroy. There it is. Boy, I'll tell you, it could have gone either way.
Brewers might have got a break. It was bang, bang. Braun with the stolen base. His 8th, a double steal. Lucroy gets one as well. Now a base hit. The Brewers could take the lead. First steal for Jonathan Lucroy this year in his first attempt.
Catchers get a lot of stolen bases like that.
One of the benefits of being a base runner behind Ryan Braun.
Right.
He's got to know where to put him. 1-2 on Weeks. Bouncing ball. This is Carroll. And he sets his feet to make the play for the out. Side retired. The Brewers get a run, though. It's 2-1 Minnesota as we go to the second.
I'm Drew Olson. As a coach in Anaheim, Brewers manager Ron Roenicke saw plenty of the Twins' M&M boys, Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer. He said facing them was scary, and as these numbers point out, it was. These guys did a lot of damage against everybody, not just the Angels. In recent years, however, both of these gentlemen have scuffled at the plate, and that's a big reason the Twins have been struggling too. Guys, no matter what size your market is, you need your big guns to produce.
No question, especially, thanks, Drew, big guns that have big contracts, and you're counting on them. And I think everybody looks to them to be the leaders of this club offensively, certainly in the clubhouse. But they are two struggling superstars, and therein lies the challenge of Ron Gardenhire and the Minnesota Twins the last couple of years.
Yeah, not just struggling with production, struggling to stay healthy. I mean, Justin Morneau just finally back with a number of different ailments, the concussion problem that he's had for a couple of years. He's got a wrist injury. Joe Mauer has been hampered by some injuries, last couple of years. But the Minnesota Twins have a payroll of about $100 million. Most of it, or I should say, a lot of it, are those two guys, and they have to get it done. They haven't.
Well, last year, Mauer played just 82 games. Morneau just 69. They brought in Josh Willingham to support the Pillars, and Willingham's held up his end. He had a 2-run homer earlier today, which was his 8th homer. Gave the Twins the early lead in the first. Trevor Plouffe leading off the second inning against Estrada. Skies one. Lucroy will give it a look, and that one's in the seats.
Everything that makes it more important for those two guys to be productive. They lost Jason Kugel and Michael Kadire in the offseason as free agents. Those are two important offensive players that they're without. You got those 3 veterans, and you sprinkle in some of these young players. Offense is going to be inconsistent, but that's pretty much the story of just about every team in baseball right now. Problem for the Twins has been, for the most part, has been their starting pitching.
2-2 on Plouffe, and down he goes, rung up by Jerry Lane. First strikeout for Marco Estrada.
Yeah, Morneau and Mauer, this is since the beginning of the 2011 season. The games are really the big story there. They haven't played in many games. And you look at the batting averages for the two. Morneau has more home runs. Mauer just 4 home runs during that stretch.
Yeah. And Morneau is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He has to prove that he's going to be able to stay healthy. Mauer with that big, long, expensive contract. You know, and talking to some of the folks around this Twins ball club, they say some of the problems that, or some of the issues that Morneau has had offensively is the fact that he's taken the problems of the pitching staff up to the plate with him. They say he takes that stuff very seriously. This is a struggling starting rotation, and it's bothered him quite a bit.
There's been a lot of discussion about moving Mauer around a little bit, maybe a little first base, could play him in the outfield. He played some first base last year. He's certainly athletic enough to do that, but he wants to catch. Thinks the team is best served with him behind the plate. But it is a warning, I think, for other clubs, especially market size clubs who have challenges. And the Twins had a great run into the postseason, good part of the 2000s. 02, 03, 04 in the postseason. They were back again in 06. Lost out on the LDS in 09 and 2010 as well. And it can crumble quickly as the Twins try to put the pieces back together.
Well, I don't think many Brewers fans are going to feel sorry for him, that's for sure. Brewers have their own issues, very similar.
Well, the Brewers, coming off a Central Division title, find themselves at the bottom of the division to start play today. As Casilla draws a walk. So the Twins with some speed on the bases with one away.
Yeah, tickets to Spring Madness next week are half price plus small Pepsi products, and Clement's hot dogs are $1. Visit brewers.com/madness.
Alexi Casilla at first for Jamie Carroll. The pitcher Scott Diamond is due up next.
And one of the few guys that will run on this club. He's 5 for 5 so far this year.
Carroll lines one left field. That is hooking foul. Carroll's had a nice year. His name came up almost immediately after the injury to Alex Gonzalez. Started to think about shortstops that might be available. Carroll playing third base tonight. He can also play second. But that was a name that popped up along with Jason Bartlett as of right now. And we had Mark Atanasio on our broadcast last homestand. He said the Brewers are looking at all options, but very pleased with Cesar Torres for the time being. And let's face it, there aren't a lot of big name shortstops available. If they were available, they wouldn't be big names.
Caesar's done a nice job defensively. I mean, he struggled offensively a little bit, but if everybody else around him is doing their job, I mean, you can get away with having a guy like Caesar out there at short, you know, making the plays. He's made some nice plays, particularly on the last road trip. He made a heck of a play yesterday.
Yeah, and Ron Renicky said as much. You know, if you're looking at Cesar Torres as the focal point of our offense, we're in trouble.
Exactly. Everybody else has to, you know, pick up the slack offensively and let the shortstop do his job in the field.
Oh, 0-2 to Carroll. Down in the dirt. Lucroy blocks it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Estrada giving up a 2-run homer to Josh Willingham in the first inning. A pitch that he would like to have back. It was an 0-2 hanging curveball that Willingham hit out. There goes the runner, and a fly ball right field. Corey Hart is over. There's the second out of the inning as Carroll is retired, and Casilla retreats to first base. So 2 gone, and it'll be the pitcher, Scott Diamond. It's a good name for a baseball player. Scott?
Yeah.
I beat you to it. I saw you raring it up.
Oh, I was ready to go right after it, but a little bit slow on the draw tonight.
Yeah, you got a little bit of delay going. That's a FCC regulated delay.
Right.
Which is probably a good thing on a night like this.
Right.
Scott Diamond never had an official major league at bat.
Diamond made 7 starts for the Twins last year. He got roughed up a bit at 1-5. Had a good year down at Rochester in AAA with the injuries to guys like Baker and Blackburn. He's getting a chance. And so far, so good.
25 years of age. He's Canadian as Casilla takes off. Gardenhire putting a hit and run on there. Drew Olson made a good point before our game today. We were just having a chat. Drew said, I didn't think Doug Melvin let any of the Canadians go by. Normally the Canadians end up with the Brewers at some point.
Yeah, every one of them with the Brew Crew, yeah.
So very Canadian feel with the Brewers front office, with President of Baseball Operations Doug Melvin and Assistant General Manager Gord Ash. 1-2 with a runner at first. And a swing and a miss. Estrada puts up a 0. A couple of strikeouts along the way. We head to the home second. Travis Ishikawa will lead off. Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Kawasaki Terex. Well, this week America's pastime moves to prime time. For Baseball Night in America, we bring you 8 straight weeks of baseball's best. It all starts with an interleague matchup between the White Sox and the Cubs. Baseball Night in America, presented by Chevrolet, begins Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, only on Fox tomorrow night.
6 p.m., that's new.
Baseball Night in America.
Yeah. I like it.
And because of that, the Brewers and Twins game tomorrow, seen right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, starts at 3:10 with a 2:30 Brewers Live. Got that, Rock?
I got it.
All right. Travis Ishikawa leads off for Milwaukee. 2-1 our score. The Twins got a pair on a 2-run homer from Josh Willingham in the first. RBI fielder's choice from Ryan Braun in the bottom of the first. Ishikawa coming off a career day in New York. Drove in 5 runs, had 2 homers. First time he'd ever hit 2 homers in a game in the big leagues or as a professional. And his 5 RBIs, his best mark in the major league so far. And the Brewers were in desperate need of some kind of production, and he provided it Tuesday night at Citi Field in New York. The lone win on the Brewers road trip. Just lays the bat on one out to Willingham. And there is out number 1.
Yeah, had Brooks Conrad been a little bit more productive at the plate, you would have thought perhaps he gets a start tonight against the lefty, but that hasn't been the case. It's either Ishikawa or Taylor Green, both lefties. So Ron Renneke elects to go with the better of the 2 defensively.
Here's the switch hitter, Cesar Izturis. Izturis has done a nice job at shortstop defensively for the Brewers. Rock talked about it last inning, but Garth Orge said he's the guy that I don't really have to worry about too much as far as defensive positioning. Very smart player. Izturis came with rave reviews when the Brewers were considering signing him to a minor league deal and a non-roster invitee to spring training. He's been with Brewers assistant hitting coach John Shelby for a good number of the past years with the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Rick Kranitz knew him well his time in Baltimore, and he is not disappointed. He's a character guy, good makeup, and an excellent defender who is now starting to feel healthy again.
The Brewers do have Edwin Masonette, a right-handed batter, should Ron Renneke choose to give his tourists a day off from time to time. But all that the Brewers expect out of his tourists is good defense. Anything else is a plus.
There's Masonette. 2-2 from his tourists, fouled away. I think the Brewers coaching staff, certainly from an offensive perspective, realized it was going to be a little bit of time for his tourists. He played in just 18 games last year with the Orioles. Had right elbow surgery, and then when he finally came back, had a groin injury. That's tough for anyone who misses that significant of a season against major league pitching as he goes down on strikes.
Yeah, especially when you're coming back from injury like that. You're getting up there in age a little bit. Izturis has been around 13 years. And Diamond drops a slider right down the middle of the plate for strike 3.
None of the Brewers have faced Scott Diamond. This is a first for all of them. Briefly in the big leagues last year for 7 games and making just his 3rd start this season and his 10th career major league appearance. Usually what that means the pitcher runs into one, does some damage.
The Twins are very impressed with the way Diamond attacks the strike zone, including the walk to Lucroy in the first. He's only walked 2.
His mechanics remind me a lot of Cliff Lee. He doesn't have as much of a kickstart like Lee, but the fact that he throws over the top, has the arch in his back a little bit, and very similar look. I think if the Brewers are trying to find somebody that they've seen to compare him to, that'd be a good place to start. 1-2-3 inning for Scott Diamond. Go to the 3rd inning from Miller Park.
Supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Beautiful Miller Park interleague baseball starts tonight all across the major leagues. And it's the border battle here between the Twins and the Brewers. Our Carsuit.com email the booth question: what is your favorite aspect of interleague play? Josh asks in Clintonville. What do you think, Rob?
Well, it's nice going to some cities that you ordinarily wouldn't go to, like Minneapolis and Chicago. We go to both of those cities. We go to Minneapolis once. I was trying to be funny.
You
get an interleague play. You go to Boston last year. You get to play the Yankees. I think that's a lot of fun. But I think that next year's interleague play schedule is really going to balance things out. I think sometimes it can be a little unfair for certain teams to have to play, you know, the Yankees and Red Sox. Other teams don't have to play those teams. And next year, that's all going to be taken care of.
They have interleague play throughout the season next season as the Astros go to the American League. Interleague play began in 1997, and attendance is up during the interleague portion of the schedule in each of those years, and it is here to stay. And it's a lot of fun, I think, for fans, especially when there's regional interests like the Twins and the Brewers, especially when you get out to the western part of Wisconsin. Comes some heated discussions out there, those that are Twins fans versus Brewers fans.
I remember my playing days back in the 80s when those Brewers Twins games were well attended. The Metrodome packed to the gills, and County Stadium, a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Those were fun days. Kirby Puckett and Herbeck and Gaetti, good pitching staff. Viola, Jeff Reardon. A lot of fun.
Denard Span sends one high and deep right center field. Long run. Hart and Aoki. It's Hart who calls and catches. Runs up against the wall. Makes a nice running catch. Span retired and maybe robbed of extra bases there.
That's now 3 outs by the Twins that have gone to the warning track. And I tell you, Span waited back nicely on that Marco Estrada changeup and nearly hit it out of here. Corey Hart going back right in front of the wall. They have to haul it in.
One gone for Brian Dozier.
Ball seems to be carrying pretty well tonight.
Yeah, I think it is. The way the warm temperatures certainly help the ball travel. But the roof is open. The panels are wide open. Dozier looks at one on the corner. Ball and 2 strikes. Dozier getting a good opportunity here at the shortstop position. 25-year-old shortstop in his first season in the major leagues.
And they like his approach. He's a baseball player, if you will. You describe a guy like him. He knows how to play the game. He's smart. Has a good approach at the plate. And they say he's got a lot of range at shortstop.
Dozier started the season in Rochester, which is the highest level minor league affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Not Rochester, Minnesota, Rochester, New York in the International League. They're 276 in AAA. Had a home run, 12 runs batted in. Ball and 2 strikes, and that one is down and away. 2-2. Dozier wouldn't chase. The fact that Dozier has come on and Gardenhire giving him a look at short allows him to be flexible with Jamie Carroll, who is basically a utility player this time of his career. Puts Carroll back in a familiar position as Dozier, little lazy fly ball to Hart, and there is out number 2.
So Joe Mauer with 2 away. Mauer last time up flew out to left field. Ryan Braun made a nice running catch. Estrada giving up 9 homers this year. The 9th came in the first inning on that Josh Willingham home run. And even though he is just now getting into the starting rotation, making just his 5th start of the season, he leads the major leagues in home runs allowed.
And that's what that's so interesting about Estrada. 30 innings pitched coming in, only 27 hits, so less hits than innings pitched, but it's the home runs that have really hurt him. It's one thing to give up the solo shots, but it's another to give up home runs when there are men on base. 3 straight starts before tonight, Marco's given up 2 home runs in a game. Keep the ball in the ballpark, which he struggled with lately. He's usually pretty good.
Estrada with 2 no decisions and 2 losses in his 4 previous starts this year. He puts a fastball right by Mauer. Inning over as Joe Mauer strikes out. A 3-up 3-down inning for Estrada. Corey Hart will lead off back to the top of the order when we come back to the bottom of the 3rd.
So I don't know if I want him second, because sometimes when you're hitting second, he feels like he's got to move people around. I don't know if I really want Corey moving people around. Once in a while he bunts on his own, that's fine. But I think this way, if he's on, whether a single, double, we can move him around if we want.
Ron Renneke asked about Corey Hart in the leadoff spot, asked about being in the top 2 spots in the order. And Renneke settling on Hart at 6 feet 6 inches with a lot of power as the leadoff hitter tonight.
Man, that's what Ron Renneke, that's the thing that he has to think about. You know, the player doesn't have to fit the qualification of the spot in the batting order. It's the other way around. The spot in the batting order has to fit the style of the hitter that's in that spot, and that's what Ron Renneke's talking about. You can't change your game just because you're in a certain spot in the order.
Well, Hart's second at bat. He singled his last time up. First time he'd ever seen Scott Diamond. He ripped one to left field. As a leadoff hitter, Renneke touched on the success for Corey Hart. He's a .277 hitter, and that power threat is something that a lot of managers would love to have in the leadoff spot. Renneke has the good fortune of having a couple of guys who can hit in the leadoff position, not be freaked out by it, but also hit for some power there.
Well, he likes it. You're not going to get any stolen bases out of Corey. He's not that kind of player anymore. But again, the leadoff hitters weren't stealing bases anyway.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Corey Hart. 2-1 Minnesota as we play in the bottom of the 3rd. Hart homered in Houston. He hit number 8 on Wednesday night at Minute Maid Park. 2nd on the club in home runs to Braun. He singled, reached 2nd on a wild pitch, and then he scored in the 1st inning on the Braun fielder's choice. There's a 1-2. Hart looks at it. 2-2 the count. It's that time of the season, and the Brewers sputtering along here at 6 games under 500, where it's going to have to be some outside the box thinking moving forward. And it does bear repeating that Ricky Weeks is a huge part of what's going to happen this year. And he knows it.
Yeah, the Brewers aren't going to be able to be consistent without a hot Ricky Weeks, or at least a consistent Ricky Weeks.
That one is hammered down the left field line. That'll go to the wall. Corey Hart thriving in the leadoff spot tonight. He has 2 hits. It's a leadoff double here in the 3rd.
Well, he's always said he likes the leadoff spot. Well, he's proven it. One thing to say you like a certain spot in the order. It's another thing to back it up after you say it. 2 for 2. Talk about a table setter. Corey Hart.
Hart rolls into 2nd. Safe at 2nd. Safe and secure. New York Life. Double number 12 for Hart this season. And now the tying run in scoring position in the 3rd. Here is Aoki. Got a nice hand as he was introduced.
Got that average up around 300.
Now Carlos Gomez is due back Sunday. He's eligible to return from the disabled list. But Aoki has swung the bat well, and he's earned some playing time, and I think you'll probably see a little more of it from Nori Aoki. Take a look at his last 5 games. He's done some damage with a bat. 7 hits, 15 at bats.
His last 5 plate appearances, 4 hits and a hit batter, and he reached all 5 times. And that's what you want out of your number 2 hitter. Corey Hart gets a double. You've got a guy behind him that makes contact that will move a runner, and then you have a man at 3rd base with Ryan Braun coming up.
Can't even imagine what the transition has been like for Aoki. Not just the new culture, playing in the major leagues for the first time, learning the pitchers, the ballparks. But you have to remember, he was the primary hitter for the Yakult Swallows for years. He was the Ryan Braun as he drives one in the gap. Hard will score easily. Aoki racing to 2nd. Here's the throw, and he's safe at 2nd. An RBI double, and we are tied at 2.
Well, he's 5 for his last 5 official plate appearances. And every one of the hits against a left-handed pitcher. Breaking ball down, stays back and just flips it out there in the gap. It goes all the way into the gap out there, and he's able to get into 2nd base. He trades places with Corey, and we're all tied up. Just barely able to get in there at 2nd base. That's a good throw in from the outfield.
RBI number 4 for Aoki. Much to the delight of our Japanese audience. This game being broadcast on NHK in Japan tonight, and Aoki with 2 hits as an RBI to even the score. And here is Ryan Braun now with a runner at 2nd, nobody out. Braun with a run batted in the 1st inning. Had an RBI on a fielder's choice. Had a stolen base in the 1st inning as well. Pulls that one down the line. Carroll backhands, long throw, and it is not in time. Got a peg by Morneau. But the bobble cost Jamie Carroll, and the speedy Braun legs one out.
Man, good base running by Aoki. No way he should have taken off the third base. That would have been Carroll's easiest play had he taken off the third. And Ryan Braun with those wheels, able to get with an infield hit. Nothing wrong with that Achilles tendon. That cut fastball that stayed up. Carroll able to get it on the backhand.
Yeah, that tight Achilles loosens up when you're sniffing a base hit.
Yeah.
And just in there, and it'll be.
That was a good pick by Morneau.
Morneau has been primarily used as the Twins designated hitter this year. 18 games he's been in the DH role. Well, he's back to his old form at first base. Aoki takes off. The throw goes to second. Braun got a late break, and he's going to be tagged out.
Well, Mauer learned the second time. And if he had done that the first time, he would have gotten Jonathan Lucroy. I think he might have had a shot at Aoki as well, but you know, the first and third steal, the trail runner always gets a late break, and Morneau right away, he knows he's got Braun dead to rights.
I think Aoki surprised Braun that he took off so fast. Aoki's been watching Scott Diamond at second base for the last few pitches. So he's at third with the infield in now, and a Ramirez in an RBI opportunity.
Ed Cedar is the coach for the Brewers that studies pickoff moves and deliveries to home plate with men on base. Maybe they've picked up something.
Ramirez over to third. Carroll coming to the plate, and Aoki is out. Running on contacts. That was the story for the Brewers on the road trip. Just unable to execute.
And they had 3 innings with a man at third, less than 2 in Houston last night, not able to score. And Nori an easy out at home.
So Ramirez reaches on a fielder's choice. That's a play where the runner has already been instructed on what to do in case of a batted ball. The contact play. Well, it's going to be Lucroy now with Ramirez at first base and 2 away. Inning started with 3 consecutive hits, but now 2 outs. We're keeping our eye on the Detroit Tigers tonight. Justin Verlander is back at it. He's working on a no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is through 8 innings as the Tigers lead 6-0. Verlander with 2 no-hitters. One of those came against the Brewers. And of course, he threw one last year against Toronto. Nolan Ryan has the major league record for no-hitters thrown in a career, 7.
And Verlander, one of those guys, every time he goes out there, it's always a possibility. He's got that kind of stuff. Electric slider, and he throws hard.
2-1 to Lucroy. Fouls it away. Well, Verlander wrapped up the 8th inning. His best inning yet, facing the Pirates. Verlander had already struck out the first 2 hitters. And number 3 punches out the side to keep the no-hitter intact as he heads to the dugout. Tigers have a comfortable lead at 6-0 as well. Casey McGee, one of those strikeouts. So So no hitter watch.
Yeah, that slider's unhittable when he puts it down there.
Lucroy lifts one high in the air, center field. And Span will make the catch to end the inning. Brewers get a run to tie it. We head to the fourth.
Extra base hits from the Minnesota Twins as Josh Willingham continues to swing the bat well for the Twins. He makes it 2-0. And Ryan Braun with a force out. He beats a double play ball, scoring a run. And then it's Aoki in the third, a double to score Corey Hart, who in the leadoff spot tonight is 2 for 2 with a couple of runs scored. That's what a leadoff hitter is supposed to do.
Well, the Brewers managed to square it up. 2-2 ball game as we head to the fourth inning. And Josh Willingham leading off for Minnesota after that 2-run homer in the first. Brewers put a big shift on for Willingham. He's one of those right-handed bats that, because of the arm strength of Ricky Weeks, it affords you the opportunity to put 3 infielders on the left side.
Yeah, look how far Ishikawa is from first base.
If there is a ground ball to the left side, Ishikawa, as if his hair is on fire, will be sprinting to first, and he knows how far he can get off the bag.
Well, the further you get off the line, the more shallow you have to play in there, because if you play deep, there's no way you can get there. That's a long way to go. He's about halfway between first and second right now, or say 2/3 the way, or 1/3. You tell me what it is. 1/3.
It seems more like 2/5 to me, Rock.
That's what happens when I do math.
Willingham lays off the 1-2. Count evens at 2-2.
See, when you're 2/5 away between first and second, you have to be very shallow.
Right. Well, that gives you 3 fits to cover. Yeah, it's all math. And Bill Schroeder normally doesn't partake in that side of the equation.
And when I do, that normally happens. So
I mean, really, it's not math. It's actually just Ishikawa having a feel for the speed of the base runner, knowing how far he can get off and still be able to get to the bag. And that's, you know, Prince Fielder, they had shifts on last year. Fielder had to be a lot closer to the bag. He did not feel comfortable being so far away from first base. Ishikawa is a superb defensive first baseman. He is among the elite defensive first basemen in the league. Nobody really knows that because he hasn't played much and he doesn't hit like a big first baseman, like a slugger like the Prince fielder.
Now, for some reason, if Willingham would have squibbed one, towards second base, Ishikawa has to go over and get it. It's up to Estrada to be able to get over there and cover. Everybody is on alert on a defense like this.
Marco has offered a steady diet of fastballs this time around against Willingham. Willingham hit a hanging curveball into the seats in left field in the first inning. There's another fastball, and that one caught the corner. Down he goes.
Yeah, right at the knees. Good pitch by Marco. He wasn't about to make the same mistake twice. He felt as though Willingham was looking breaking ball his first time up and did not throw him one for a strike, and that one right at the knees. Willingham thought it might have been low. He was taking the shin guard off to go to first. Good job by Lucroy. You see the way he holds it there for Jerry Lane, the home plate umpire.
One gone here is Justin Morneau. Morneau homered yesterday against the Tigers. Drove in 3 runs in that Minnesota win over Detroit. 2 for 4 yesterday. Spent some time on the disabled list with a sore wrist. Hand injuries, wrist injuries, and hitters aren't a great combination. You see that wrist is still taped, heavily taped, the left wrist for Morneau. Hits out hard to left. That is the Justin Morneau of old right there as he slaps one into left field for a single. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Which Brewer collected his 2,000th career hit on this day in 2009? It's a good question. 2009. We did get in awful late last night. The wheels aren't cranking as quickly as they normally are, or as slowly as they normally are, depending on which side you look at it.
I think head on pillow last night was about 3:15.
Yeah, I think so. It's about right. Brewers had 2 early morning arrivals on the last road trip. But good to be home. Brewers used Miller Park and the energy that is in this stadium to their benefit last year, leading the major leagues in home wins a season ago. 57 wins of the 96 they had for the season, right here at Miller Park. 2-0 to Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe has been close in his 2 at-bats. He's hit a few foul balls, I think 3 foul balls just like that, where he is just missing pitches up in the strike zone. Got to be careful with this guy.
A struggling hitter at 143 right now, and he does have some pop. You make a mistake on him. Middle in, something middle speed.
Two and one. Count goes 3-1.
And Plouffe, one of those players for Ron Gardenhire that's a natural infield. He plays short, he's played third, but Ron Gardenhire feels is always best suited in the outfield.
He's another young guy in this Twins roster, just 25 years of age. Pops that one up. A 3-1 pitch, and Estrada will get out number 2 here.
Yeah, it's Miller time in the Miller Lite beer pen every Friday night here at Miller Park. Fans 21 and older can get a low bleacher ticket and a t-shirt for only $22.
2 men are out in a 2-2 game. Top of the 4th. Good crowd tonight on a Friday night. What a great night it is for baseball. Tailgating was on early today.
Supposed to be a nice weekend all the way through, right? No?
I haven't heard yet. I just got back yesterday, and I'm waiting on the latest weather report. I know today was nice. I don't like to do the forecasting. I like to do the backcasting. I can tell you that today was sunny and 80.
I'm just telling you it's going to be nice.
Oh, you're telling me.
Just agree with me once in a while.
What do we got tomorrow, Rock?
Nothing but sun.
Abundant sunshine. Casillas sounds like he broke his bat, and the side is retired. Good inning for Estrada. He's ripped off 3 consecutive scoreless. Will this be the night that Ricky Weeks gets unhitched? 2-2 ball game.
Five days, more than 200,000 nails, 1 million swings of a hammer, and 8,000 hours of volunteer labor. That's what was involved this week for Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity's 2012 Build-a-thon. Throughout the week, members of the Brewers organization made special guest appearances during the building of these special homes. And before the game tonight, Braun presented them with a $50,000 check donation to the cause. Guys, I don't know what bank you go to, but I don't think I can squeeze that into one of those tubes at the drive-thru.
It's a big check. It's like a golfer's check, right? Nicely done. Thank you, Drew. Now we begin play here in the bottom of the 4th inning at Miller Park on no-hitter watch in the major leagues. Justin Verlander, he is 2 outs away from a no-hitter, which would be his 3rd of his career. He's facing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ricky Weeks in the hole. Long throw. Pulled. Weeks safe at first. Infield hit. That was some kind of play by Brian Dozier.
You know, I was talking about his range and his hands, and you know, the one thing that he might be lacking is a throwing arm. I mean, the big arm to be able to get it out of a play like that, but he certainly does a nice job on the backhand. He goes down to get low and just doesn't have enough on the throw to get Ricky. Ricky showing good hustle out of the box, sniffing base hit. Come on! Nice soft hands right there. Getting himself in position to throw right away. Well done.
Brian Dozier made a good play, but Weeks too fast. And a man on to start this inning. Ishikawa, hot one to second. This is going to turn into a 4-6-3 double play. Wipes out the lead base runner just like that. Let's go to the action in Detroit. Josh Harrison, the nephew of John Shelby, the Brewers assistant hitting coach, breaks up the no-hitter.
Amazing, isn't it?
And Verlander, 8 1/3 of no-hit baseball. And got some applause from A.J. Burnett in that closing dugout. That's a great scene there in Detroit. Verlander, the ace of that staff.
You see some of those sliders he was throwing? Absolutely unhittable.
Literally unhittable.
Right.
Until he gives up to hit. So no hitter tonight. And that is a very quick inning for Scott Diamond.
Tonight's time of the game winner is the Beacon in Merrill. You know, Merrill's about a half hour from Wausau. Spent a lot of time up there.
Woodchucks.
Yep. If the Tavern Contact calls the Brewers in the next 24 hours, the Beacon gets 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Say hey to our friends in Merrill.
Good buddy John Humphreys up there.
Now Marco Estrada has ripped off 3 straight scoreless innings after giving up a 2-run homer in the first to Josh Willingham. He's settled down, has 4 strikeouts. Twins have 3 hits. Jamie Carroll leading off. Speaking of no hitters, the Twins were no hit earlier this year by Jared Weaver. 2 no hitters in the big leagues this season. One of those a perfect game. Philip Humber of the Chicago White Sox. He did that against the Mariners in Seattle.
And Humber's really struggled since throwing that perfect game.
Yes, he has.
This goes to show you when you have big league pitchers, you know, everybody out there has the ability to really put together a fine outing. You know, no hit stuff. Doesn't matter who it is, how big the name is. When it's their day, it's their day.
It is interesting. There are some very random names in baseball history that have thrown no hitters in the big leagues, like Bud Smith and, well, Jared Weaver. He's more than just a random name. Very good pitcher for the Angels, and it was May 2nd he no hit the Minnesota Twins. He had that slider working that day, but unlike Verlander, Weaver not doing it with the overpowering fastball. I thought that last fly ball by Casilla was a home run. Looked like Casilla had hit one out, and I think everybody on the Angels side was thinking this is the last guy you'd expect to see hit a home run here, and he almost sent one out of the ballpark. Torrey Hunter had to make a catch right up against the wall. Carroll lifts one in the air to left, and Braun has it for out number 1. As we check in with Drew Olson.
Hey, BA, well, Scott Diamond comes to the plate. I was wondering if you guys can name, according to the Twins media guide, there have been 8 Canadian-born players to play for the Twins. Can you name the one that also played for the Brewers?
I can.
Oh,
can you?
I think, well, I don't know. Do I have to right now? This is not officially our AT&T trivia.
It's a rogue trivia contest, guys, and it's also, I know you had a late flight, BA, so it's okay. I'll give you a hint. He had a concussion issue.
Yes.
Corey Koski is
right.
Yeah, that's the name I was thinking. That helped me though, Drew. Thank you. Thank you for embarrassing me. No, just kidding.
Well, you got it.
There's a base hit, his first major league hit, Scott Diamond. But Drew does bring up a good point. You know, the Canadians in the major leagues, the Canadian front office here with the Brewers.
See, I wasn't able to answer that question because you didn't mention my name when he came back to you. So I just kept quiet. And nice hack by Diamond. Nice short stroke. Not much of a leg kick, and hits that one hard into right field. It's got to be a big thrill for him.
Yep, there's a memory right there. His first major league hit right here at Miller Park. And one of these days, Drew Olson will throw that out as a trivia question, I'm sure. 2-2 game with a runner at first now. Top of the order, Bernard Span. Span tonight doubled his first time up. He doubled and scored. Flew out to deep right his last time up, sent Corey Hart to the warning track in right center. Marco Estrada looking for a ground ball double play to get him out of the inning after the pitcher comes up with a base hit. Span's a tough guy to double up. He's got to hit one sharply right at an infielder to turn one over.
Yeah, Span hitting around 300 this year at 295 coming into this at bat, but he's only 4 for 7 in stolen bases, so he hasn't been running a whole lot, and he hasn't been all that successful. This is a guy that can steal bases when he's healthy.
Span, like Morneau, dealt with some concussion issues last year. Now, these days in baseball, they have a new disabled list for players with concussions. That's just 7 days. One of the guys who was instrumental in that study works for the Brewers. He's the man who runs the medical program, Roger Kaplinger, former head athletic trainer of the Brewers. And I was talking to him last year about the concussion situation, and if it's, you know, a first concussion, I don't feel like you need 2 weeks to get over it. You'll know if obviously if it's going to last longer than 2 weeks. And in Corey Koski's case, he never recovered. His career was ended. Same with Mike Matheny.
And what that does, it kind of forces teams to give these guys some time off if they have that concussion problem. They have symptoms related to a concussion, as opposed to having a guy say, I'm all right, just give me a couple of days and I'll get back, because they don't want to lose them for 2 weeks.
So the 7 days makes sure that a manager can do the safe thing, and just about automatic. If there is a head injury, they're going on, that player is going to go on the 7-day concussion disabled list. Span's been dealing with tightness in his hamstring. He did not play in the 2-game series against the Detroit Tigers. One of the reasons he hasn't been running all that much lately.
Yeah, Twins don't hit many home runs, and they don't steal many bases, which is one of the reasons why they've struggled so much to score runs. You got to do one or the other. Either a power club or you're a speed club, and when you're neither, that's when you find that inconsistency.
Full count to Span. The Brewers a little more confident to turn to if Span, because of the hamstring situation. Runner goes, and a bouncing ball through the hole, a base hit. And the pitcher Diamond running the bases. He stops around second base. Looked like Corey Hart had already conceded third base to him.
But there's a guy who's never been out there in the major leagues before.
Not used to running the bases. They very rarely work on it, and instead of doing the wrong thing and trying to take the extra base, he was running on the pitch though on a 3-2 count. Probably would have been able to make it easily, but inexperience on the bases. He stays put. He does the safe thing.
That could be big if he does end up at third base with one out. Certainly a better opportunity to score runs. You could score on an out in that case. Well, here's Brian Dozier now. 0 for 2. 2 on, 1 out in a 2-2 ball game in the 5th. Dozier takes a breaking ball strike.
Not much of a lead, but he looks in. He seems to know where it is, but instead of picking up the coach, he turns around and looks and see where Corey Hart is. That's why he didn't go. Too busy looking to see where the baseball is.
Well, this is a big inning for Estrada. Twins threatening with 2 on. Minnesota now with 5 hits through 4 1/3 innings. That one caught the corner, says Jerry Lane. 1-2 the count on Dozier. Dozier hit a 3-run homer 2 days ago against the Tigers. His first career multi-RBI game. Rookie shortstop. And he put that one right by him. A foul tip into the mitt of Lucroy, and a strikeout for Estrada.
Hey, fans, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the Pittsburgh Pirates on June 1st. June 1st through the 3rd. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. Speaking of the Pirates and Justin Verlander.
Pitch count at 95 for Estrada. He's very efficient in his start against the Cubs. He went 6 innings and 83 pitches. Here's the big battle of the game so far. Estrada against Joe Mauer with 2 on and 2 away.
They got him on a strikeout. He fell behind 3-0. Ended up coming back to strike him out on a 2-seamer.
And finds a corner out there again. Ball and a strike on Mauer.
This is a guy that in these spots uses left field very well. We saw Justin Morneau do it his last time up. Mauer very good at using right field when there are runners in scoring position.
That one is sliced into the gap. It's going to go to the wall. 1 run is in. Diamond. Here comes Span around third, and he will score as Mauer gives the Twins the lead on a 2 RBI double into the gap.
They've tried to go to the well too many times with that 2-seamer. 2-seamer away right here once again. Not a bad pitch, and Joe Mauer able to take it into the opposite field, slicing away from Maoki, and he clears the bases. No sooner said it than he did it, taking it into left center.
Vintage Mauer, and he gives the Twins the lead 4-2 here in the 5th inning. Scott Diamond, the Twins pitcher, big part of this inning offensively with his first major league hit. Shift is on for Willingham as Estrada misses away. Willingham fouls it into the seats. And Mauer looking for that Outside corner fastball. And
yeah, look where he makes contact, right off his back leg. And that's what you want to do. You want to wait as long as you can. He goes down and gets that pitch. That wasn't a bad one from Morneau, but he's just too good of a hitter, and he hammers it into left center.
RBIs number 17 and 18 for Mauer. He's at second with 2 gone. And that one finds the outside corner for a strike. 1-2 the count.
It's pretty apparent what Willingham's looking for up there, isn't it? Off speed. 0-2 curveball. Hit for a home run. He's been a little bit behind the fastball all night.
Estrada able to strike him out with a fastball in the 4th inning. Got him looking. See what he has in mind for him here. 1-2. Fastball. Willingham had a big cut, but he was late. One at bat builds off the next, and that ultimate game between pitcher and hitter. Well, pretty good fastball, but a little too far outside this time. Willingham puts his at bat in the fate of Jerry Lane.
A tough pitch to take with ducks on the pond. Boy, oh boy. Still looking breaking ball, apparently.
Now it's 2-2. And a fastball driven to right. There is Hart to retire the side. Twins get 3 hits. They score twice, and they're back on top 4-2. There is Marco Estrada now finds himself trailing 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder and Drew Olson. Brewers baseball tonight. The border battle between the Twins and the Brew Crew. And a reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Brewers. We'll see if Milwaukee can answer. Estrada is out as Brooks Conrad will pinch hit for Marco. Switch hitting infielder. Still looking for his first hit as a Brewer. He is 0 for 19 since his call up.
And he's grinding away up there at the plate, and before he got called up, he was swinging a hot bat down in Nashville. Things kind of snowball on you. Get off to a slow start, you don't play much, you get an at bat once in a while, and Makes it difficult.
And you have to know he's pressing. You say you don't want to. You can't play this game tight, but he knows the situation.
That's what I'm saying. You get off to a slow start, and every at bat becomes that much more important. And you're swinging out of the strike zone a little bit to get that hit.
Conrad's always been a guy who can hit. It's been his defense that has kept him from staying in the major leagues. Switch hitter with power from both sides. And a swing and a miss. He chases. Down he goes. Out number 1 for Diamond. Now, Brewer fans, this season is your opportunity to get involved in our broadcast over a wide range of social media options. You can tweet your comments and questions to our Twitter handle at FS Wisconsin. We'll choose some of the best each night, put them on the air. You can also follow along with a pulse of social media on our Game Connect page at foxsportswisconsin.com. Here's Corey Hart back to the top of the order now with 1 away. Marco Estrada exits this game with 5 innings, 6 hits allowed. He gives up 4 runs, all earned.
And what he did was in that last inning was able to minimize the damage. Big innings have haunted Marco all year. He was able to avoid that in his last start against Chicago. Had a couple of innings tonight where he gave up a couple of runs, but the big number, he stayed away from that tonight.
Well, what do you make of Scott Diamond so far from what you've seen? Is he as advertised? He's 2-0 with a 0 ERA coming into this start tonight.
Well, he keeps the baseball down. He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes with his fastball. He's got 2 of them, a cutter and a sinker. There's that breaking pitch. It's been a good one for him. He keeps the ball in the ballpark. Hasn't allowed a home run yet this year. And when you consider that, the Brewers, 2 of their hits tonight have been infield hits. Well, he's pitched a good game.
Hart's been a tough at bat for him tonight. Has 2 hits, both hit very sharply. At that time, he pulls the string and strikes him out. Back-to-back Ks for Scott Diamond, and it'll be Nori Aoki now. Aoki with 2 hits in this game. Yesterday had a couple of hits against the Astros and starting to find his name in the lineup a little more often.
And 5 for 5 and a hit batter in his last 6 plate appearances. And tonight getting it done in that number 2 spot. First 3 innings, Corey and Aoki doing a nice job. 4 for 4 between them. A couple of runs scored and an RBI. That's what the top of the order has to do.
Aoki is 5 for 11 on the road trip. 2 for 2 tonight with a single in the double, driving in a run in the 3rd inning. Hart has scored both of the Brewer runs. Aoki bats with the bases empty and 2 away in the 5th.
The impressive thing for me and Aoki in this stretch, 5 for 5, all against left-handed pitching. Ron Renicke's always said he's pretty good against lefties. Well, he is.
Well, Renicky said he's his right-hander off the bench, even though he's left-handed. Had great career numbers. Hit almost 290 in Japan throughout his career against left-handed pitching, but he had great numbers against right-handers and lefties there. You don't win a batting title in Japan. Aoki won 3 of them for the Yakult Swallows without hitting righties and lefties. Little tapper, and Diamond has a quick inning. Well, that's the inning he needed. 4-2 puts a 0 up after the Twins get him a pair. Chance to win a VIP experience for 2 this year at MLB World Series game. It's presented by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Now the turf at Camp Randall Stadium is being replaced for the first time in a decade this summer. Find out what other renovations are taking place in Madison. Jesse Temple has the story at foxsportswisconsin.com. It's 4-2 Minnesota as we head to the 6th inning at Miller Park, and it'll be Manny Parra out of the bullpen for Ron Renneke.
That 16th appearance for Manny. He's been throwing the baseball well. Has not allowed a home run yet this year. I hope that's not the kiss of death. We're good about that. Last pitched on Wednesday against the Astros. Retired the only batter that he faced. That was a left-hander, Jason Castro. So Manny Parra with that split-fingered fastball. Now he's on a roll.
Scott Diamond coming off his best inning, 3 up, 3 down with 2 strikeouts. And probably most importantly, he leaves Ryan Braun in the on-deck circle with a 2-run lead. Braun will lead off in the bottom of the 6th inning as Morneau starts it for the Twins. Morneau roped one to left his last time up. It's 1 for 2 tonight. Oh-2 from Parra and a swing and a miss. Lucroy has to hurry to secure it. A high throw, safe is the call. Lucroy had more time than he thought with Morneau running, but a high throw and Morneau is safe.
Yeah, he was busting it down that line, and I think that's what made Lucroy panic a little bit. That split-fingered fastball is a good pitch for Parra, and he's throwing it to lefties. Jonathan just not able to soften the chest enough to keep it close. All the way out on the grass, and you're right, he had a little bit more time than he thought. A high throw, and with the hustle by Justin Morneau, he beats it at first.
Yeah, close play. Could have gone either way. It's a strikeout, a wild pitch, a runner at first with nobody out.
Not often you see a guy hustle that much on a wild pitch that ends up being blocked in front of him. A lot of guys just going to flip the bat, put their head down, and do a token jog to first. You love to see that hustle.
It's always been a signature of the Gardenhire-led Minnesota Twins. Very fundamentally sound ball club. That's why it was such a shock. They committed so many errors last year. A lot of new pieces in different positions. Morneau and Mauer missed a good chunk of the schedule with injuries. But you can't argue with the results that Ron Gardenhire has put together in Minnesota.
Yeah, he's a good one.
A lot of stability in that organization. Their general manager Terry Ryan.
He's back.
Yep, he's back and
took a little sabbatical for a while and back as general manager. He's got his work cut out for him right now, though. Check out Morneau, a former MVP. Getting it down the line and able to beat it at first base.
Interesting, Rock. No wild pitch there. That has been officially scored as an E2 on Lucroy.
Okay, well, I'm figuring that a good throw gets him, right?
So could factor in the earned runs if Morneau should come around to score.
I agree with that. Throw beat him, a little high, E2. Okay.
Parra does have a 4 strikeout inning in his career. And with that split finger fastball, he's the kind of pitcher that can do that. See a wild pitch on a strikeout, a runner reaches, still have to get 3 more outs.
The toughest pitch in baseball to catch, a split fingered fastball. Most of them you don't catch, actually. You got to block because a good splitter is going to end up in the dirt. Toughest to catch, toughest to hit. But it's tough on the arm. That's why I don't see as many anymore.
I was a little surprised Parra came back with so many splitters after elbow surgery last year. He didn't have the Tommy John surgery, just had to have some bone spurs shaved off the elbow. So it wasn't quite the recovery as the Tommy John procedure, but it did cost him the season. That one is hit hard. Center field. Aoki on the run, and will run it down. First out of the inning. Aoki playing deep, makes the play. Well, let's check in with Drew Olson. Had a nice moment at Wrigley Field today, Drew.
That's right, guys. It's always exciting when the Cubs and White Sox get together for interleague play, but today was extra special because Wrigley Field said goodbye to Kerry Wood, who retired after today's game. He struck out the only batter he faced on a curveball, no less, and walked away, and that kind of took away some of the sting. There he is hugging his son. The Cubs lost the game to their rival 3-2, and guys, I got to tell you, as emotional as this was, our friend Dale Swaim wasn't around to see it. He was ejected in the 5th inning.
Well, they got to hang out in the clubhouse together, I guess.
Second one of the year for Dale.
Well, congratulations to Kerry Wood. He has, he had a great career. Looked like it was going to be a Hall of Fame career his first few years. Had the 20 strikeout game against the Astros. But he ends up pitching 14 years, and he said he didn't want to pitch anywhere else but Chicago, and he meant it. And he just doesn't have enough in the tank anymore.
Kind of unusual, to get in the game, get taken out, and retire right on the spot.
I remember when he was here when the Brewers played the Cubs in the last homestand, and the game he came back and he pitched. He got out of trouble. He ended up pitching a 2nd inning. Something it didn't seem right with Kerry Wood. He'd almost resigned himself to the fact that he was coming to the end. And it was so interesting that night because it was all kind of trouble behind him. Base runners everywhere. Starlin Castro came in to talk to him, and he shooed him away. And it locked him into a different zone. He ended up getting out of the inning, and says, man, I'm getting shooed away by a 22-year-old shortstop.
Yeah.
And he finally hangs him up, and that'll free the Cubs up to make some decisions with their bullpen moving forward. Bullpen has been a wreck for the Cubs this year.
Yeah. And Marmol taken out of the closer's role. Dolis in there. A lot of young arms, but having a tough time throwing strikes and getting outs.
Alexi Casilla with a runner at first. 1-2 the count.
I saw those strikeout numbers for Kerry Wood. Was it 1,500 and some strikeouts and 1,300 and some odd innings? Yeah, 1,581 punch outs in just a little bit less than 1,380 innings. That's tremendous. More strikeouts than innings pitched. You had to believe that slider took its toll on his arm.
He had a lot of injuries last few years of his career. Elbow injuries, back injuries. Well, when he hit the scene in 1998, it looked like a star was born at the Tommy John surgery the next year. You never know with pitching.
It was supposed to be Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor for many years for the Cubs.
For a decade.
Right. Yeah, Mark Pryor never amounted to much. Arm injury, leg injuries.
I hear Pryor's trying to make a comeback again. Two balls, 2 strikes on Casilla. Switch hitter. Gardenhire has him in the 7th spot in the batting order tonight. A lot of speed down there. And if you're going to double him up, this is the side to do it. A couple of extra steps coming out of the right side of the box as opposed to the left. 4-2 Twins in the 6th. Runner goes, and right through the legs of Ishikawa. Morneau on his way to 3rd. Oh, Manny Parra has seen a couple of errors behind him. He should be out of this inning by now.
Yep, that'll be an error on Ishikawa, and that's a rarity. I mean, he normally eats that one up. Could have been a double play as hard as was his hit. It goes right through the wickets, and Morneau, who reached on a strikeout and error, ends up at 3rd base.
Third baseman, Jamie Campbell.
'27th error for the Brewers. Ishikawa second. So runners at the corners with Jamie Carroll coming up. This is a danger zone for the Brewers right now. They're trailing by 2. They've been struggling to score runs lately.
Right, getting out here. You got the pitcher on deck.
This is the key hitter for Manny Parra. Should have been out of this inning, but a strikeout to the first hitter Morneau. He reached on a throwing error by Lucroy on a pitch in the dirt. 2 errors in the frame. Well, Gardenhire's never been afraid of a squeeze bunt. You know, Ron Renicky loves the squeeze in this particular setup, first and third, less than 2 outs.
I mean, don't be surprised if Casilla tries to steal a base here. He likes to run.
There he goes. And Lucroy fakes a throw. That'll be a stolen base. And the Twins with 2 in scoring position now with 1 away.
He had a pretty good jump. A decent lead, good jump. I think he went on the first move by Manny. And Lucroy decided to eat it to make sure that Morneau stayed at third base.
And now the Brewers forced to bring their infield in. 6th steal for Casilla this year. Twins trying to add to their lead. And Carroll fouls it away. Carroll's just one of those tough hitters that you love in a spot like this. He rarely strikes out. Good contact hitter.
He's only got 17 strikeouts this year. There's a time where Manny's got to get that split-fingered fastball down in the dirt, get the swing and a miss, and go after the pitcher who's on deck.
See what he gives him. 2-2. And a little half swing, foul ball. That's what we're talking about with Carroll. Pesky.
Hey, Sunday, June 3rd is the Time Warner Cable Customer Appreciation Game. Bring last month's Time Warner Cable billing statement to the Miller Park box office for a buy one, get one free terrace ticket offer.
Lucroy having a chat with Manny Parra.
Jamie Carroll just fouled off a pretty good splitter. And I think when a guy does that on you, it kind of makes you wonder what you want to throw next. That's why you have the conversation. That was definitely a strikeout pitch that Carroll was able to fight off.
Quick trip to the mound for Lucroy. This is when Parra has to trust Lucroy to block anything in the dirt with a runner at third. Morneau has been ready to run over there. 2-2 the count. Second and third for the Twins, and a fastball missed badly. I guess that might have been a splitter that slipped out of his hand, not sure.
Yep, 84 miles an hour. Tried to overthrow it. Yep.
It's a good catch by Lucroy. Keeps the runner at third. Pitcher coming up next. Carroll giving Parra a good at bat. Big spot in the ball game. Big pitch coming up here. The payoff. And Carroll lays off. Man, that was some kind of at bat. Took a close pitch for ball 4. And the bases are loaded now for Scott Diamond.
A good split-fingered fastball. That's going to strike out most hitters, but Jamie Carroll very patient. How do you take that? That pitch started out about mid-thigh, looked like a strike, and then just disappeared and it got to home plate. He saw a lot of them, so I guess it didn't fool him too much.
That's the kind of pitch that gets a lot of outs, a lot of strikeouts. But now with Carroll, so Parra facing the pitcher who singled his last time up, his first major league hit. This is a spot where the Twins, they'd rather see Diamond strike out than hit one on the ground. Brewers will take the chance to turn 2 to get out of this inning. Another heater is in there for strike 2.
Yeah, Manny not messing around with any breaking pitch that he might leave up in the zone. It's really the only pitch that Diamond's going to be able to handle. And bust him inside right here.
Bases loaded. Morneau struck out but reached on a throwing error by Lucroy. Casilla reached on an error from Ishikawa. Two errors, a walk. Just one out here in the 6th.
And a stolen base.
It was a big steal by Casilla. And a fastball, strike 3. Down goes Diamond. Maybe Ron Gardenhire just told him to go up there and pretend like he had a wiffle ball bat in his hands.
Well, Manny wasn't messing around. He wasn't going to make a mistake with an off-speed pitch. He went after him with a fastball and got him. That's just good aggressive pitching right there. Last thing you want to do is start messing around with sliders and splitters to the pitcher. Now you make a mistake, it's really the only thing he can hit.
And Rick Kranitz, knowing the importance of this at bat, now to have a visit with Parra and Lucroy. These are pitch selection discussions, I would imagine. And that's why they only limit a member of the coaching staff 2 visits to the mound. Otherwise, they'd be out there for every batter.
Yeah, well, Span having a good night. Even the out that he made was hit well.
Span doubled and scored in the 1st. Hit one sharply to right off Estrada. He singled to right in the 5th inning and scored a run. Twins got 2 in the 1st on a Willingham 2-run homer. Added 2 more in the 5th. Joe Mauer drove in a pair with a double. Bases loaded, 2 away. And a fastball in there from Parra. That's his best fastball of the night, 95 miles per hour. Looking ahead to the Brewers' 6th inning, Braun will lead off, then Ramirez and Lucroy. When Manny Parra was a starting pitcher for the Brewers, he would rarely use his split finger fastball against left-handed hitters. He went more to the fastball curveball combination. Lefties actually hit him pretty well at a higher batting average than right-handers did. There's a base hit to left. Morneau will score. And Casilla's in there as well. So 2 more runs in. The runners will advance on the throw. And the Twins take a 6-2 lead in the 6th inning.
Yep, a base hit, the only hit of the inning, and another error. The 3-pitch at bat to Denard Span, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the corner. Manny misses with a splitter and then goes back to the fastball, and Span able to hit it hard into left. 2 runs come around to score. Braun's throw goes to the backstop. That'll be another error on the Brewers. Their 3rd of the inning. They just can't do that and win games.
And Ron Renicky will make the change. Oh, an inning that should not have been. Twins have 2 on the board in this inning. 6-2 the score. And Renicky makes a call. Parra is out. We'll take a timeout. Set up the new hurler, Tim Dillard, when we continue. Three errors. 2 runs are in for Minnesota. It's 6-2 now. Span drives in the pair. Now the minor league report. We're checking on Carlos Gomez, who is in the middle of his rehab assignment. Out with a hamstring injury. Went 1 for 4 tonight. Hit a 3-run homer for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And Gomez is eligible to return on Sunday here, the former Twin.
You know, Gomez just might be the spark the Brewers need in that batting order. A high energy player, Carlos Gomez, no matter what he does. That's actually what got him on the disabled list. A routine fly ball to center field. He was running like his hair was on fire and pulled a hamstring.
Here's Tim Dillard on the pitch for Manny Parra. 2nd and 3rd now. And Dozier is the batter. Should have and could have been a 3-up, 3-down inning for Manny Parra.
Yeah.
Morneau reached after he struck out, reached on a throwing error by Lucroy. There was a line drive out for out number 2, and then Casilla hit a routine grounder to first, went right between the legs of Ishikawa. And next thing you know, Bernard Span up there with the bases loaded, delivered, driving in 2 with a single to left. And then he advanced on a throwing error from Braun. Brian Dozier is 0 for 3. All 3 at bats against Marco Estrada. Another frustrating night at the ballpark for the Brewers. Still plenty of time to turn it around, but this game is becoming too familiar for the Brewers and their fans right now. Estrada started, went 5 innings tonight, gave up 4 earned runs. Twins scored all 4 of those runs against Marco Estrada with 2 outs. Willingham hit a 2-out, 2-strike homer in the first inning, a 2-run homer. And then Joe Mauer with 2 outs, delivered runs 3 and 4 with a double. First night of interleague baseball tonight all across Major League Baseball. We were on a no-hitter watch for a good part of the night. Justin Verlander ends up with a one-hitter. Beats the Pirates. There's a swing and a miss, and the inning is over. 2 runs are in. 6-2 Minnesota. The Brewers trying to get the bats going. Ryan Braun will lead off when we come back. Reminding you to please play responsibly. And buy the new Miller Lite Punch Top can. It's Miller time. Beautiful Miller Park on a Friday night. 32,000 in attendance here this evening. Ryan Braun ready to lead off. Brewers down 4. Powerball home run leaderboard has Braun and Hart at the top of the heap. Ryan with 10 home runs this season. Braun so far tonight has a hit. He reached on an infield hit in the 3rd inning. He also drove in a run on a fielder's choice in the 1st as a stolen base. Carlos Beltran is the league leader in homers right now, by the way. St. Louis Cardinal right fielder has 13. Scott Diamond now with a 6-2 lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th. He's been good. 2 scoreless games in his first 2 games. Starts against the Angels and the Blue Jays, and has lived up to the hype here tonight so far against the Brewers.
And not the big fastball or the electric breaking pitch. He does it with finesse. He throws strikes. He keeps the ball down. Seems like he's very poised out there in the mound. The Brewers have had opportunities to put some runs up on him in the 1st and the 3rd, but able to minimize the damage.
And that one is gone. Ryan Braun sends one out of here. 6-3. Big fly to center field for Ryan Braun.
Ryan Braun able to wade back. It looked like an off-speed pitch, and he just hammers it out there in the center field. Number 11 for Brawny. A no doubter to center. Yeah, the changeup. The changeup up in the zone. He knew it. As soon as he hit it, he flipped the bat out there, and I'll tell you, he waited back nicely on that pitch, and nothing but barrel for Ryan Braun.
It's number 11 for Braun. His 2nd hit of the game. Makes it a 3-run ball game. Ramirez takes one down and in, 2-0. Well, the Brewers hoping that home run by Braun will rattle the young lefty. Two and one to Ramirez, and that one is inside, ball 3. And get a base runner here, get the wheels in motion a little bit. Got Lucroy coming up next. And a strike on Ramirez. Tonight Ramirez is 0 for 2. Bouncing ball toward third. This is Carroll, and there is out number 1.
Ryan Braun waiting back on his changeup like he knew it was coming, and a nice short stroke. Able to get on top of it and down and through. He gets a back spin on that baseball and just kept flying. Off the batter's eye out there in center. Number 11 for Braun. And the first allowed this year by Scott Diamond. That was over the batter's eye, wasn't it?
Big time power. Right-handed hitter who can hit him that far, slightly into the right center field area with that kind of power. Not many right-handers go up in that spot. That's like left-handed pull power.
Or a changeup.
Providing it all, you say.
Yeah.
Lucroy lines one in the gap in right center. That's going to go to the wall. Lucroy on his way to second with a double. And the Brewers getting their hits as the crowd chants Luke.
That guy can hit. He can flat out hit, Jonathan Lucroy. And the reason that he's been so successful is this approach right here. Down and away. Nice short stroke. He lets the ball travel and get to him, and just down and through, able to get on top of it and just hit a missile into right center. That's a great approach for Lucroy to start the year.
One out base runner in scoring position. And it'll be Ricky Weeks. 6-3 Twins.
The Brewers have actually out hit the Twins. The Twins have not committed an error.
Ron Gardenhire on his way to the mound. Well, the Twins skipper has activity in the bullpen, and he's going to make the call. Anthony Swarzak is on the pitch. We'll set him up when we continue from Miller Park. quickly with Anthony Swarzak. Good outing by the rookie left-hander.
Absolutely. It's a pretty good hitter's ballpark, and he was able to keep the ball down for the most part, except for that changeup that he made a mistake to Ryan Braun. That was up in the zone. The Brewers have been able to cover home plate pretty well. There's Ryan Braun, that changeup up around the belt. You see the way Braun is able to center on that changeup, hits it on the sweet spot, and that's exactly where you want to hit a ball to center field, right on the front edge of the plate. Doing a nice job, and you know, when he hits them like that, they're going to go. And look at Jonathan Lucroy. He makes good contact back on the back foot. That's how you hit the ball to the opposite field. You don't change your swing at all. It's just about the timing when you start your swing. And Lucroy able to go on top of that one as well and drive it into right center.
And so Gardenhire makes the change with Anthony Swarzak, his 11th appearance of the season. Diamond goes 5 1/3, 8 hits. At this point, 3 runs.
And Swarzak, a guy that's made some starts. He made 3 starts, 10 appearances overall. Pitched 3 innings in relief, you know, a few days ago, actually a week ago, and he's making his 11th appearance.
Ricky Weeks had a chance to keep the Brewers going here as he fouls one away. Weeks with an infield hit in the 4th inning. I don't have these statistics right in front of me, but during this stretch for Weeks, it seems like he's been at an 0-2 count just about every time at the plate. He's a very patient hitter typically, has been throughout his career, but you could tell lately an approach change, perhaps trying to swing a little earlier. I think that was the idea behind taking Weeks out of the leadoff spot, so he'd be freed up to be aggressive at the plate.
And that's what happens when you're striking out a lot. You're not getting, you know, base hits. You want to jump on that first fastball that you see. Bit behind that curveball. That was a hanger right there. That's ordinarily a pitch that Ricky's going to be able to rattle off the wall somewhere. And a little bit behind the fastball and just a little bit behind the curveball. He's just not, you know, dialed in. The timing's off a little bit.
Well, hitting is so much about confidence. And those kind of misses can start you spinning mentally as he bounces to second base. 4 out, number 2 on the play. Lucroy advances to third. Well, it's time now to take a look at our Jimmy John's high-speed delivery tonight. Scott Diamond topping out at 92, as did Marco Estrada. Diamond in line for the win, Estrada on the hook for the loss, as the bullpens are now in control of this one.
Yeah, if the Twins hold on, he's 3-0. Diamond off to a pretty good start.
Travis Ishikawa with Lucroy at third base. This would be a big spot for a big hit. Trying to steal a couple of runs back from the Twins in the 6th inning. Ishikawa had a 2-homer game Tuesday night in New York. Has hit 4 this year.
And Swarzak with a good sinking fastball, and ordinarily guys that throw that pitch keep the ball on the ground. Tough to elevate their pitches, although he has given up 5 home runs this year.
Cesar Izturis due up next. And Ishikawa lifts it in the air to left. Willingham, a long run. Foul territory, hauls it in. The side is retired, but Ryan Braun connects for home run number 11. And the Brewers pull within 3 of the Twins. If you're just tuning us in, our Toyota game summary. Denard Span has 3 hits tonight, including a big 2 RBI single in the 6th inning. Ryan Braun homered, number 11 of the season. Last inning brought the Brewers within 3. And the rookie left-hander Scott Diamond, 5 1/3 tonight, gives up 8 hits and 3 runs. AT&T Uverse Reverse. We take you back to the replay that you'll be seeing all over the highlight shows tonight. Nori Aoki goes over the shoulder to haul one in. It was the 2nd out of the ball game tonight, robbing Brian Dozier of extra bases.
And Vic Wirtz.
Yes, Vic Wirtz, 1954. Willie Mays, the Seihei Aoki.
Now they have something in common.
Jose Veras is in the game.
And pitched last night. He pitched the scoreless 8th inning, did Jose Veras. Trying to right the ship. He's had a number of rough outings and trying to get better command of that curveball.
Well, quick innings have been few and far between for the Brewers pitching staff this year. Veras would love to put one on the board. Brewers got a run back and trail by 3. Joe Mauer leads all 4 of the Twins.
That Brew Crew did not have a 3-up 3-down inning last night against Houston, and they've only had 1 tonight.
Marco Estrada went 5 for the Crew, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. A lot of interleague baseball tonight in the big leagues. Some games are finals, a few still in progress. The Rangers and the Astros are in the 8th inning. Texas leading 4-1. Adrian Beltre is homered for Texas. Mauer right back up the middle. Sent Veras ducking on the mound. Joe Mauer's having a good night.
I think that was a changeup. He went down and got that one. Wow. Hey, Spring Madness is next week against the Giants. Tickets are half price plus small Pepsi products. And Clement's hot dogs are $1 each. Visit brewers.com/madness. Madness everywhere. How about that swing by Mauer? That ball is about 3 inches off the ground. That was a good pitch by Veras.
Very similar to the double he had in the 5th inning, driving in 2 runs. Drove one in the opposite field gap on a low pitch. Josh Willingham with a runner at first, and he's taking a hack at the fence. See the Mariners shutting out the Rockies tonight, 3-0. That's Kevin Millwood spinning a 2-hit shutout through the first 6 innings, trying to resurrect his career in the Pacific Northwest. That game is actually in Colorado tonight. Don't see many shutouts in Colorado. A hot grounder that beats the shift. Mauer on his way to 3rd. And the Twins back in business in the 7th inning. 1st and 3rd with nobody out.
Yeah, a couple of very hard hit balls by the Twins. And Willingham able to get after that fastball. It was down, middle in. He had a tough time with that Estrada fastball, but apparently looking heater and getting fastball and just out of the reach of his tourist.
Willingham with 2 hits tonight. Had that 2-run homer in the 1st. Now 1st and 3rd for Justin Morneau. We'll see how Veras attacks Morneau here. Fox tracks is up. Backdoor breaking ball in there for a strike. Angels lead the Padres 1-0. Didn't have to go far for that interleague matchup. The game's early. It's in the 2nd inning. Battle of the Bay in San Francisco. Oakland and the Giants. They're scoreless in the 2nd. Got the White Sox and the Cubs from earlier today. White Sox beat the Cubs 3-2. Kerry Wood, as Drew Olson told us, retired today. Finished his career on a strikeout. Very intriguing Beltway Interleague Series. Orioles Nationals. The Orioles won tonight in 11 innings, 2-1. Baltimore looks like they're for real. They got 12 games over 500 now with the victory.
Got some hitters on that team. J.J. Hardy having a nice year.
Yeah. You know, Bill Hall's playing for the Orioles now.
Right.
A couple of former Brewers. But the Baltimore Orioles, the American League East Division leaders, got a game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. And then it's the Blue Jays. And then at the bottom of the division, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Go figure. Boston and Philadelphia finished as well. Phillies hung on to win. 6-4 was the final. Cole Hamels improves to 6-1.
Hunter Pence getting hot. Hit another homer.
Pence hit his 10th tonight. Papelbon, the former Red Sox closer, saved it for the Phillies against his old team. Morneau into the left. That ball's pretty well hit. Braun is back and he's got it for the out. Tagging and scoring is Mauer. Sac fly RBI for Justin Morneau.
And that baseball just jumps off his bat, doesn't he? Long battle for Morneau against Veras. Veras able to get ahead with a breaking ball, missed with that one. Didn't really want to throw him a fastball for a strike. And finally, Morneau able to get a pitch that he likes. That's where his power is. I mean, there's another pretty good pitch. That pitch down, a curveball, and he just hits it hard, almost over the head of Braun, and deep enough to score another run. So these Twins, I mean, they like the ball down, don't they?
Some low ball hitters. They get their run back. And here's Plouffe in the air. Aoki will settle under it for out number 2.
Veras did the best he could against Morneau to not to have to give him a fastball for a strike. He actually threw a good curveball and ended up giving up the sac fly.
Jose Veras, kind of symbolic of where the Brewers are. The folks that were counted on to produce having a hard time right now. Look at guys like Weeks and Ramirez. Jose Veras trying to pitch his way back into a successful groove. Renicky has wanted to use him in spots like this to try to get him some game activity. It's hard for a reliever to find it in the bullpen.
Well, working on his curveball tonight.
Alexi Casilla, runner goes, and a high drive right field, hooking, foul. Twins are getting some very good swings tonight.
Craig and Davey all right out there?
It's pretty close to their spot, isn't it?
It is.
Just above it. Looks empty over there in the Craig and Davey ballroom.
Right. We've got a cover.
Davey's still icing his hamstrings after his Nori Aoki swing demonstration. Little flare to right, and that's going to fall for a base hit. And the beat goes on here. 3 hits in the inning. Yeah, we saw Davey limping around earlier today. I said, Davey, what happened? He goes, well, I did a Nori Aoki swing demonstration before the game. That's the price of television.
Yeah, just watching him, I had to ice my hamstrings. Did a nice job with it, though. The coach, Davey Nelson.
Jamie Carroll with 2 outs. First and second for the Twins. 7-3 Minnesota now. See, the Cardinals are in Los Angeles tonight. The Dodgers just put 3 on the board against Lance Lim. 3-0 LA in the second inning. Cardinals have strung a few losses together here. The Brewers haven't been able to make up any ground, though.
You got to right the ship. You got to, take care of your own team. You got to start playing some better baseball and then start worrying about the standings. Can't be looking around when you're having a tough time in your own backyard.
Bouncing ball to Ramirez, and he'll go to second for the out to end the inning. A run scores on 3 hits. RBI from Morneau. 7-3 Twins.
Inside, moves right through the ball, so he can handle that pitch there. His swing is a little long at times, but he's able to keep his hands through the ball. Then with
that was Davey Nelson on the Brewers Live pregame, and he was spot on. Aoki doing it with his glove first tonight, a Pizza Hut delivery of the game. And then Nori collecting a couple of base hits. He had a single in the first inning, and then he drove in a run with a double in the third. 2 for 3 tonight from Aoki. I like that, a little proactive, instructional. And Aoki responds.
A pregame instructional.
Who's it going to be tomorrow?
I don't know.
Remember how Hawk Harrelson used to have the pick to click? I think he still does. That was Davey Nelson's tonight, the pick to click.
We've got a large contingent for the instructional tonight.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right.
The Twins are here. We got Blyleven coming over.
Yeah,
it's always interesting.
A lot of love between the Brewers and the Twins as far as the broadcasting goes. There's the Hall of Famer, Bert Blyleven.
Handsome man, isn't he?
He is. Working the glasses. Always got to be on your toes around Bert Blyleven.
You never know what he's thinking.
As soon as he walks in the room, you start looking around to see if your shoes are on fire. Matter of fact, I specifically wore shoes without laces tonight.
As did I. You got to watch your tie.
Bert Blyleven and Dick Bramer.
I'll tell you, the 2 years that I spent with Bert Blyleven with the Angels, 89 and 90, that's about as much fun as I ever had in baseball. He is a funny man.
I remember before Bert was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that was a great moment for Bert Blyleven. You know, a friend of mine asked him to sign a baseball, and he took the ball and he just started writing on it, and he took a while, and he just wrote all over the baseball. I couldn't figure out what he was doing. He wrote all of his career statistics, and then he finally signed it, and he pitched the ball back, and he goes, "See, is that worth being in the Hall of Fame for?" He was kidding, but you don't really know how to respond if you've just met Bert Blyleven for the first time.
No. Some kind of pitcher, though. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Great personality.
Yeah, that curveball he had. And you just look up his stats one day. Man, it's amazing. It took him that long to get into the Hall of Fame.
His Torres is out. One gone in the 7th. Well, our text question tonight. Andy in Mequon wants to know, Rod, did Bert Blyleven ever give you a hot foot?
Yeah. Yeah. He did. A number of them. Right there.
That's what he's famous for.
He's a circle me, Bert. He has made that famous in the Twin Cities. Bert Blyleven has given everybody, every one of his teammates, a hot foot. He's even given guys hot foots that are in the game.
He's even given himself a hot foot.
Not recommended to do at home, by the way.
The strategy with a hot foot is you see Nigel Morgan pinch hitting. There has to be some kind of distraction. And then you light the shoes on, the shoelace is on fire. Morgan flies out.
And again, you don't want to do this at home.
This is not something you want to see in a little league scenario. These are professionals. Professional hot footing. Svenny Chulk gets loose. Another guy we are all excited to see is Corey Provis, the Twins radio announcer now, former Brewers radio man. It's always good to see Corey, his wife Dana. Picked up right where we left off.
Yeah, he's a good guy, good man. We miss him. He's having a good time in Twin Cities. He's in the radio booth with Dan Gladden.
The man, a few words right now for Corey Provis.
He wasn't this afternoon.
So I have a cast of characters for the instructional tonight. I do recall one instructional when Blyleven was pitching and you were catching, and he kept throwing pitches in the dirt on purpose.
Yeah. Yep, I know.
In your suit. It's tough to block a ball in your suit.
Right. Well, they told me that I was going to be getting the gear on. I kind of volunteered, you know. And,
yeah.
And I knew Bert was going to be doing the pitching in the instructional. So what I did was, I knew I didn't have a lot of time to prepare myself for this endeavor after the game. So I actually wore my protective cup throughout the entire broadcast.
Yes, you did. That created a few awkward moments. And we have another one tonight. As Hart takes a called strike 3, the inning is over. Brewers go quietly in the 7th.
p.m. We are expecting mostly sunny skies. Our first pitch, 76 degrees. Not too bad there, but it is going to be a little breezy as winds pick up 12 to 25 miles per hour.
Thank you, Valerie. And as Rock predicted, an excellent forecast. Very beautiful day it looks like tomorrow. And the next game for the Brewers and the Twins is tomorrow. 2:30 is airtime. First pitch at 3:10 on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Sunday is the final game of the series. On the air at 12:30 for Brewers Live. The Giants come to town Monday. Three-game series with the San Francisco Giants. We had a trivia question at some point tonight, and here it is. Which Brewer collected his 2000th career hit, and it was Jason Kendall. Remember that, Rob?
I remember that, yeah.
Now it's called coming back to me. I saw Jason the other day.
That was an important moment for Jason. I remember he was very excited about that. And a good guy, Kendall, had a great career. As Vinny Choke takes over in the 8th inning. And 7th game for Vinny. The last couple of outings have been pretty good. 1-0 with a 675 earned run average. That win that he picked up is first and so 7.
Well, Jason Kendall with the Royals still. At a very young ball club. Royals have a great young catcher who's hurt, but we're going to ask Kendall to bring him along.
You got 2 guys hurt.
Yeah, 2 catchers hurt, right. Ben Revere pinch hitting for the Twins. 7-3 Minnesota. And Revere fair down the right field line down into the corner.
Look out here. This guy can fly.
Revere racing around second on his way to third. It'll be a stand-up triple. First triple of the season for the speedy Ben Revere. Didn't take him very long to get there either.
Yeah, breaking ball down and in, and another Twins hitter likes that breaking ball, and he whistles it down the line. Any kind of problems out there, and I think Ben Revere might have been thinking about 4 bases. This guy can run. Just called up. No problem with a stand-up triple.
Twins looking to add to their lead here in the 8th. Top of the order, Denard Span, who's had a great night tonight already. 3 hits. He's driven in 2, scored twice. Infield in for the Brewers. And that one's in the air. Shallow right. Weeks is looking out for Hart. That ball's going to fall. Boy. Ricky was looking for help in the infield end. And a run scores on a base hit.
Yeah, nothing Ricky could do about that. Fans not happy, but that's a no man's land. You've got the infield in. You've got Corey Hart in normal depth and right. I mean, look where Ricky is. He's on the infield grass. He goes back right away. He's trying to pick it up. He knows he can't get there. And it's a base hit.
And the Twins lead 8-3. Brian Dozier at the plate. Well, tomorrow the Brewers will turn it over to their opening day starter, Yovani Gallardo, against Carl Pavano. Sunday, the Brewers have Zach Greinke against Jason Marquis.
Yeah, Twins sending up a couple of struggling veteran pitchers. Pavano and Marquis, both with big earned run averages. And the Brewers are going to send out the 2 best.
Two balls and a strike on Brian Dozier. Twins have banged out 12 hits tonight. Dozier, however, is hitless. 0 for 4 with a couple of Ks. Until now, a base hit. 3 straight hits to start the inning. Still nobody out.
13 hits for Minnesota. That fastball getting a lot of home plate, and Dozier able to hit it hard into left. Boy, not a good night for the Brew Crew.
Coming off a 1-3 road trip. Nothing going right for Milwaukee right now. And a frustrated manager. Brewers committed 3 errors in this game, all in the same inning. That was the 2-run inning in the 6th. Gave the Twins a 6-2 lead. Braun hit a homer tonight. Briefly pulled the Brewers within 3, but the Twins answered right back. They've scored in the last 4 innings. As Joe Mauer bats with 2 on and nobody out. I suppose you just gotta keep digging. A lot of baseball to be played. Every day the Brewers show up hoping to get things turned around. Mauer goes down the line. This is going to score a couple more. Braun comes up with it. They'll hold Dozier at third base. 1 run is in as Joe Mauer drives in his 3rd on his 3rd hit.
That's just an incredible approach by Joe Mauer. I mean, check out this pitch and where he hits it. That pitch isn't even a strike, a sinker going away from him, and he just waits and flips it down the line. And just continues to put a good approach on the baseball. You know, Mauer started out 0 for 2 in this game. Last 3 at bats, 3 hits, a couple of doubles.
And 3 runs batted in gives him 19 for the season. 2nd and 3rd with nobody out for Willingham. Interleague baseball today. The Yankees shut out the Reds. Andy Pettitte notched his first win since 2010. Struck out 9 with 1 walk as they beat the Reds 4-0. How about that for a comeback? It's his 2nd start in the big leagues.
Yeah.
All 4 of the Reds' hits were singles.
Reds are going to be in New York for a while. Had a 2-game series against the Mets. Didn't even have to check out of their hotel. They play the Yankees for 3.
Yeah, just go across town.
Right. Go from the 7 train to the 4 train.
That's right.
You're right there.
You were a big hit on the 4 train last year, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard to squeeze Bill Schroeder into a post-Yankee game subway.
It's kind of embarrassing. I didn't have any money.
Oh, yeah.
I had money, but I didn't have a ticket. Do you remember how long that line was?
I do. And you pulled the VIP rank.
No, I mean.
Actually, I did that for you.
Actually, you told me you had me a ticket.
I did. Which I did.
But you didn't.
No, that's not true.
You had me a ticket, but there wasn't anything on it. There was no money on it.
Which I didn't know.
So there you go scampering into the train station. A couple of Brewers fans rescued me.
Wait. At my beck and call, they rescued you.
Thank you very much. That's the least you could have done.
We reached out and we said, sir, are you a Brewers fan because of all the Brewers stuff you're wearing? Why, yes, I am. I said, do you know who this man is?
Can you lend him $3?
Can you swipe him in?
That's true.
So that's how it works with the Metro card. And then Bill got on the subway. It's like a children's story, really.
I'm very happy.
Except for all the language.
No, that was fine.
And happily ever after as Willingham cuts and foul tips one into the middle of Lucroy for strike 3.
It had to be half of the stadium, was in that line trying to get on the 4 train.
But what's interesting about that is when Bill Schroeder gets on a subway at all 6'3" and 3/4 of him, You know, he's got the New Jersey instinct, so he immediately goes up to grab the handles, which means everybody else is armpit level.
Right.
All the rest of us down here.
And I'm holding on where nobody else can hold on. Nice and sanitary up there.
We didn't get on the subway this time. We were just there 2 days ago. We did take an hour and 15-minute bus ride from the hotel to Citi Field. New York City, when it rains, is not the most ideal place to be.
Right.
Second and third for Justin Morneau. And a sweeping breaking ball is in there for a strike. Jerry Lane wasn't real motivated to call that a strike, was he?
Jerry Lane's seen a few pitches tonight.
Jerry Lane said, yeah, I guess it's good enough. Morneau dumps one into left field, a base hit. And this will score two. 11-3 Twins as they are pouring it on in the 8th inning. Justin Morneau with 3 runs batted in.
Yep, everything they hit seems to find the hole. And Morneau gets jammed up and in. And just dumps it into left. And 2 runs come across. Dozier and Mauer score.
Still just 1 out. There is no activity in the Brewers bullpen. This is Vinny Cholk's ball game, or at least his inning. He's given up 5 hits. 4 runs have scored. He could use a ground ball here. Trevor Plouffe at the plate, 0 for 4. Series continues tomorrow. Game 2 of this set. Starts a home and home with the Minnesota Twins. Kind of interested to see what the interleague schedule is going to look like next season. There will be interleague games every day of the year next year.
Yeah, you get to play every team in baseball, and you know, the only question is, some of these teams, do you play them at home or on the road? There's some real good American League cities that we have not been at for quite some time.
Haven't been to Seattle in a while.
Baltimore.
Brewers will go to Minneapolis in June, mid-June, June 15th through the 17th. Brewers had won 6 straight games at Miller Park against the Twins leading up to this game tonight. As Jerry Lane rings up Trevor Plouffe.
Jerry Lane's got a little Tim McClone in him right now. Huh? Yeah, a little bit of a delayed reaction.
So you're gone. Second out of the inning. The crew chief, Jerry Lane. Alexi Casilla with 2 away. Breaking ball in there for a strike. 0-2 on Casilla. He has a hit tonight. He walked, stole a base, scored a run. There's a very busy Minnesota portion of the scorecard tonight. 11 runs on 15 hits. Ricky Weeks is there, and this inning mercifully ends. 4-run score. Twins lead 11-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Play against the Twins, and you're watching Friday Night Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Kawasaki Terex. Damian Craig back on board, getting you all set for Brewers Live postgame. Full reaction from the clubhouse, and we're also going to break down the top of the lineup tonight. And Nori Aoki, for the second consecutive night, having a very good night, this time in the number 2 hole. 2 hits, RBI, and he's really doing a nice job in center field. Had the big catch as well tonight.
Well, he certainly is, and the thing about it, he looks very comfortable now that he's getting a chance to get a lot of at-bats and playing ball games, and boy, he's swinging the bat very well.
And he's leading off the 8th inning here. Again, Brewers Live postgame on the way, coming up after coverage of our ball game here tonight. Brian?
All right, thanks, Craig and Davey. Looking forward to the Brewers Live postgame. And our post-game instructional here tonight with Aoki leading the way. Let's see if he can keep it going tonight. Looking for his 3rd hit of the ball game. New pitcher is Alex Burnett. 17th appearance of the season. He's been pretty good for Gardenhire this season.
And the bullpen for the Twins has held up their end of the bargain. The pitching woes have really come from the starting rotation. The first time in a while that Aoki has faced a right-handed pitcher.
Well, Carlos Gomez is due back Sunday. It's his first day he's eligible off the disabled list with a hamstring injury. Aoki beats one into the ground to second, and Casilla makes a play for the first out. I want to bring in Drew Olson here, and Drew, looking at this situation with Gomez, Nyjer Morgan, Nori Aoki, I think before Gomez was hurt, Ron Renicky was considering making Gomez pretty much the everyday center fielder. You wonder what it's going to be like coming back now.
I think it's going to be interesting, BA, because Gomez was the DH tonight for Class A for the Timber Rattlers. You said he went 1 for 4 with a go-ahead 3-run homer. That was the plan, to DH him tonight, maybe play him in the outfield tomorrow and get him here Sunday. And he may walk into a starting job. Who knows? The Brewers are looking for a spark. They're also going to have to make a player move to bring him back on the roster.
And again, with Aoki swinging the bat as well as he has been swinging, you figure he's going to get some rotation. But, once Gomez comes back, I don't see him playing every single day. kind of ease him in. I mean, he's been out for a while, and it's going to take him a bit, but it's going to be whoever it is for Ron Rennick is swinging the bat, no matter what the position is. That's the guy that's going to play.
Ryan Braun shoots one to right for a base hit. So Braun with his third hit of the night after he homered in the 8th.
Well, fastball that's middle in. This time Ryan Braun thinking up the middle, able to shoot it into right. Not many power hitters can do that. Hit the ball that hard on the ground in the right field. Just a good all-around hitter with big power.
Infield hit, a home run, and a single to right for Braun. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice as well. Also had a steal. And Aramis Ramirez at the plate. Ramirez right to Casilla. Throw to first is in time, and it's a double play. And the inning ends. And that pretty much sums up the night for the Milwaukee Brewers. We go to the 9th. 11-3 our score. The Twins have the lead. Not much going well for the Brew Crew this evening. John Axford on to work as we move to the 9th inning now. And unfortunately, the way the Brewers have gone lately here, Axford, Brock pitching in games that are not save situations, but needing to get his work in.
He's only been in 7 save situations this year. He's been successful 6 times. Has not pitched since Tuesday against the Mets. He gave up a hit in an inning of work, including a couple of strikeouts, and has 22 punch-outs in just 11 1/3 innings this year. But you're right. I mean, a lot of his appearances have been just like this, just an opportunity to get him some work.
Well, the Brewers have been trailing big this month on a few occasions, and that has meant Renke's gone with his pitchers that pitch in these particular situations. Normally when you have a lead late, you get guys like K-Rod and Axford. 1 pitch and 1 out. Drew Olson watching John Axford here. It's got to be a different mindset here with the intensity for him, and he knows that's something he has to work on. He doesn't want that ERA to continue to go north.
Absolutely, BA. The thing with me is that this is his 5th outing since April 29th. And I think last year his easiest month was September, and it was a 10 outing month. So he's a rhythm guy. It's been hard for him to get in a rhythm. Like you said, that blown save that ended the streak seems like it was a month ago. It was a week ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yep.
The streak stopping at 49 consecutive games. And you see his pitch count for his outings in the month. And that blown save, that ended up being a secondary story that night. It was a big story in that Axford's streak came to an end at 49, but his wife went into contractions. She's pregnant, and he left the stadium in the middle of that 13-inning game. A week ago tonight, one of the great letters ever posted by a Major League player. Drew Olson's been covering Major League Baseball from a writer's perspective for many years. And,
no Axford, but he wrote his comments down.
He wrote a nice letter.
Anticipated what the questions might have been.
As Revere bounces, and that's in and out of the glove of Ishikawa. And the Brewers going to commit their 4th error of the ball game.
You know, guys, that letter from Axford, beat writers all over the major leagues were talking about that, because Axford's already a great interview, and he's the kind of guy, he's the kind of closer you like, just like Trevor Hoffman. When he saves a game, you can't find him. When he blows one, he's at his locker to face the music. And that letter was much appreciated by the guys because it was a big story. Everybody wanted to hear from him about the streak, and for him to do that was just kind of a classy gesture.
Did you read the article, Drew, from Mike Baum? And he broke it down structurally. You know, he had the lead. It was grammatically correct. Sentence structure was beautiful. It was really a fun read about the John Axford letter.
The many things that Trevor Hoffman taught John Axford, that's one of them. I mean, you got to face the music, good or bad, and Axford has held true to that.
Eric Komatsu is going to get a pinch hit appearance here. Former Brewer farmhand. He's now playing against the Brewers in his 2nd Major League uniform this year. First time we saw him, he was a member of the Cardinals. Cardinals took him off their Major League roster, which made him available to the other teams, and the Twins snatched him up. That was 2 years ago. Komatsu and Brett Laurie were the 2 top players in the Brewers minor league system. Komatsu won the minor league player of the year. Traded to the Nationals for Jerry Hairston Jr.
Well, both of them in the big leagues. Brett Laurie right now serving a 4-game suspension for throwing a helmet and hitting an umpire. Can't do that.
I'm surprised he didn't get more than that.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. But Komatsu in the big leagues here with the Twins, getting a chance.
Well, Komatsu was a Rule 5 pick by the Cardinals. That's how they acquired him from the Nationals, which means that he has to stay in the major leagues. The Cardinals took him off their major league roster, so that he basically can be claimed by another team, and the Twins did that. So he's gonna, it's a rule to protect the player, but he may bounce around a little bit. He already has this season, from the Nationals to the Cardinals, now to the Twins. Hoping he can stick for a while. He's a good hitter. He dumps one into left field for a base hit. So Axford pitching with runners on again. 2 on, an error, and now a single.
16 hits for the Twins. This is a team that came in with 12 wins this year. Season high for the Twins, 20. They did that against the Angels.
Yeah, 16 hits, the 11 runs ties the season high. Brian Dozier. Never want to see your closer in a game like this.
You never want to see the opponent go through the 6th time in the batting order.
Well, this game was tied at 2 going into the 5th inning. Twins have scored in every inning since. They got 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, added 1 in the 7th, and a 4-run 8th inning. Ron Renicky is not a tip the tables over kind of manager. But
Not yet.
You can see his frustration.
Not yet.
Nearing a tipping point.
Everybody has their limit. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to beat yourself, with errors, fundamentals.
4 errors tonight. Weeks shovels it. He's Turris on the return throw. Nicely turned double play to end the inning. Axford a scoreless ninth. Bottom of the ninth. Last call for the Brewers. It's 11-3. Field Clinic shining moment of the game tonight. This catch, the second batter of the ball game. What a great catch it was. And Aoki has chipped in with 2 hits tonight. Aoki is 2 for 4 at the plate.
On top of the order has done a nice job tonight. And Ryan Braun with 3 hits. Aoki with a couple, and Corey Hart 2 hits.
But some long faces in that Brewers dugout as they trail 11-3.
With the lineup shakeup, that's exactly what Ron Renick was trying to do, get something going at the top, and it's worked tonight.
Pitching has been the problem this evening. Francisco Liriano is on to work this final inning. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, 0-5 as a starter. They've put him in the bullpen. You go from throwing a no-hitter last year to pitching in an 11-3 game out of the bullpen. Trying to figure it out. Look at all the walks for Liriano. 22 walks and 29 in the 3rd innings.
Jonathan Lucroy will lead off for the Brewers. Liriano just moving into the bullpen. His first outing was the 14th of May. Lucroy pops it up. And Trevor Plouffe with room for the first out of the inning. Well, it's a good day to look ahead at tomorrow. Carl Pavano and Giovanni Gallardo, a couple of starting pitchers, opening day starters. With ERAs in the 5s. They're both going after their 3rd win of the season.
And 4 starts career against the Twins. Gallardo 2-1 with a 2.48 ERA. So he's throwing well against Minnesota. You would hope that he's going to do that tomorrow.
3:10 start time. Can always present some challenges. Supposed to be a bright sunny day tomorrow, and there'll be some shadows to deal with, which Gallardo has no problem with. Ricky Weeks with 1 away. Has a hit tonight. 1 for 3 at the plate. Weeks down on the count, 0-2. Liriano brings that big fastball. Kevin Millwood finished off his shutout tonight of the Colorado Rockies. Boy, that's doing something at Coors Field. It's a pretty good lineup in Colorado. That was a 4-0 Mariners win. 37-year-old Kevin Millwood. He picked the perfect place to pitch, didn't he, in Seattle?
Yeah, that's a nice ballpark to pitch. This goes to show you how tough it is to find pitching in the big leagues. Trying anything.
Justin Verlander came within 2 outs of a no-hitter. Josh Harrison, the nephew of John Shelby, Brewers assistant hitting coach, got a base hit, broke up the no-hitter for the Pirates. Weeks draws the walk. So a 1-for-3 night for Ricky with a walk. And that's been at the heart of the problems for Francisco Liriano. Four errors tonight for the Brew Crew. Three of them in one inning. And they led to 2 runs in that inning.
I wonder what's going through the mind of Ron Renneke right now. What does he do? Shake the lineup up. That's all you can do. You put, maybe try a different guy in a different spot. Use one of your bench players. And guys have to get the job done.
Can be a lonely spot for a manager. Such high expectations to start the season for the Brewers. And the injury certainly had a major effect, especially the injury to Alex Gonzalez. That was your quarterback of your defense, the shortstop. Losing Gamble was a significant injury. You don't see many teams suffer that many season-ending injuries, certainly not in that short of a time span. Chris Narveson, Gamble, and then Gonzalez. But again, no excuse. The Brewers and Renneke won't allow you to use it as one.
No. Every team goes through injuries, maybe not that extensive, but Brewers very fortunate last year after 3 of their guys started the year on the DL to stay pretty healthy. And it's usually the healthy teams that end up in the postseason. But it's awfully difficult to make up for offense and pitching like the Brewers. They've lost 3 guys.
That's a fair ball. Morneau and the pitcher covering the bag. Not in time. Ishikawa sniffing a hit. Beat it down the line. Good for him.
These are the things that drive a manager crazy about a guy like Liriano. He's scuffling, no doubt about that, but no reason that you don't cover first base. He got off to a late break and really didn't hustle over to first, and Ishikawa able to beat it. That's a mental error by Liriano, getting to first base late. Actually, he beat it. He did beat Ishikawa to first.
Ishikawa will take it. Infield hit and hustling all the way. 2 on, 1 out for Cesar Izturis. Game's going to affect the time of game average stats in a negative way.
Brewers have had a couple of them. What day was it at home, that 5-hour plus game?
That was a week ago today, Rock.
Cubs.
13 innings, 5 hours. I remember it well.
As long as you win, it's worth it.
That was a nice win for the Brewers that night.
They get beat, and it's not.
Brewers took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs their last series at home. And they're going to have to bounce back with a couple of wins over the weekend to do that here against the Twins. Edwin Masonette going to get an at-bat here, perhaps, barring a double play. Francisco Liriano, former All-Star.
They were comparing him to Johan Santana when he was young. You know, the two of them were together on the same staff. Has not been able to find the command of Johan Santana.
Is Torres with a base hit. And the bases are loaded. Little tomahawk chop for Cesar Torres. His first hit of the night.
Well, get into that bullpen, you know, make things happen. Look at that pitch, not even close to being a strike, and he's Torres able to get on top of it and line it into right. Talk about a shoulder-high pitch, almost nose-high. Well, they say right-handed hitters are high ball hitters.
That's a high ball.
That is about as high as you can get.
Bases loaded. And here's Masonette. He's already hit 1 grand slam this year. And a grand slam last Saturday. Edwin Masonette for the first time in his brief major league career. Off Chris Volstad. Oh, what a great feeling that must be. Packed house, giving your ball club a big lead. First career grand slam. Good for him. Especially for the guys that aren't known for their home run power.
They're extra special for guys like that.
What are the odds? He's got a chance to do it again. One and two. Boy, some big numbers against Liriano with bases loaded in his career. Hard to figure. He has been an enigma, to say the least.
It's all about mechanics for Liriano. I mean, it's very difficult for him to repeat strikes, and he just can't seem to find a strike zone on a consistent basis, even when he gets ahead in the count.
Three and two.
Everything seems to be okay right here. You see a little bit of a balance, and then everything really just kind of flies open as he gets. He's one of those drop and drive guys. You can see he's really off balance after he gets rid of the baseball, and that's a very difficult delivery with which, you know, to repeat. I mean, everything gets thrown out of sync, and that's why he throws so many pitches out of the zone.
And Masonette strikes out for the second out of the inning. So 2 gone in the ninth in an 11-3 ball game. This is not one of those games you want to keep on your DVR for your youngsters. This will be one to put in the coffers. Move on, as our producer Chris Withers likes to say. move on.
If you're DVRing it in the Twin Cities, it's not a bad one.
I'd be more for mechanics, you know, for a teaching tool. Pretty good at bats, I guess, by Morneau and Mauer.
Depends on what side of the river you're on.
I was mainly focusing in on the Brewers audience.
I get you. I know.
That's an ugly line score. 16 hits for Minnesota. Tied their season high with runs with 11. We'll see if Corey can do some damage here with the bases loaded. Steaks on the grill. Two balls and a strike on Hart. Yeah, it's 2-2.
Man, there's the kind of pitch that the Twins are hoping that Liriano can come up with more often. 93, right on the black.
Well, we'll see what he has in mind here on a 2-2 pitch. Liriano trying to finish it off for Minnesota. And they're going back-to-back games in Detroit. That one didn't miss by much. 95-mile-an-hour heater from Liriano. A road trip for the Twins started in Detroit, then to Milwaukee here, and then they go to Chicago next. Full count. Runners go, and Hart fouls it back. Twins at 12-26 coming into this game tonight. Started to put some things together though in Detroit. And they have carried it over. Plenty of offense carried the way for them this evening. Right off the end of the bat. Coming in is Casilla, and that will do it. Ball game is over. And the Twins win the opener in convincing fashion by a final score of 11-3. Scott Diamond is the winner. The loser, Marco Estrada. Much more still to come on this one. Craig Kashan, what do you have coming up on Brewers Live?
Well, our post-game coverage begins inside that Brewer clubhouse. We're going to find out what's on Ron Renicki's mind tonight. The Brewers stumbling right now. They've lost 5 of 6. We'll also preview Game 2 tomorrow and a special on-field instructional.